Mike Warner's not gonna be joining us because his his surgery. And so it's got things going on. So I will not share right now. You'll do the share. You know how to do that.
Yeah, I got it.
So he's not gonna be with us tonight. And thank you for coming. It's nice to see everybody.
Well,
I guess construction in town hall is supposed to be November.
it's November 24, right?
When we were in the meeting, they said August, and I was like, "Excuse me, it's September."
Yeah.
Too many code violations.
We all
You only
I was at first. I'll be honest.
I know there is a conference room someplace that we can hopefully move into. So.
Good.
Yeah, so we'll have the conference room downstairs. I believe that's where you guys used to be at. That's actually kind of going away. It's gonna be used for more record archiving and another office space, but we're building one right just next to Jared's office. Used to be the old town manager's office forever ago. So
There you go.
What's happening in the old fishbowl? What's
Oh,
that?
You probably want to turn off your.
the center office,
Yeah.
Doug's old. That is actually, it's not 4 offices with a cubicle in there. So Tim's in one, our fire marshal's in a space, and then our new stormwater is in a space as well. So
We're all there only part of the time. So.
right.
Yeah, well, you've been in Zoom for a year.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, that's true.
Weird.
But
I move
yeah,
fast.
I'm.
Yeah, this year is one.
It does.
Yeah. So.
Good crew of students this year? I'm on leave right now, so I don't have any students. Okay, well, I'm doing research. I'm getting research done for.
Oh,
yeah,
research.
yeah, so for just for the fall. So.
What's your research?
Oh, I've been getting a bird banding station up and running. I had running years ago, so but I'm doing some new work where I'm radio tagging birds.
Nice.
Radio tagging, wow. Yeah.
Where are you doing that at?
So the colleges have a 100-acre field site called Hanley, and it's
This Pepperell Bar?
yeah, but it's way over. It's like half a mile up from Cuba Lake and 10 miles south of Central Falls. So-
Okay.
So it's a haul. Like when I go from my house,
Yep.
like I gotta be there at sunrise tomorrow morning, so I gotta leave at 5:30 because it's about a little less than an hour to get there. But it's a great location. It's and I'm working on catbirds, and there's tons of catbirds.
Stuff like frog or avoiding deer on right over.
Oh yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So, as previously said, my name is Mike Murphy, Head Code Enforcement Officer for the town of Quebec, but just turning off my phones because with my luck, city or Cheshire will get a fire call and you'll hear a bunch of sirens go off my phone. So I'm a code enforcement officer. I'm the lead or floodplain administrator. I'm actually a certified floodplain manager through ASFPM, as well as a national stormwater inspector. So again, I wear a bunch of different hats. My main role is strictly municipal code and New York State Uniform Code, as well as energy code compliance. All right. I oversee actually a very nice staff at this point. Started off with just myself when I got hired by the town in 2023. Now I currently have a staff of 5. We have a part-time fire marshal, 3 code enforcement officers, including myself, as well as a stormwater inspector. The stormwater inspector is a new position. I'm very thankful for the town board that they hired on beginning of this year. It allows us to be very proactive, not only in MS4 compliance, but also just general municipal code compliance when dealing with new developments in stormwater.
Actually, some of the people might know Andy.
Andy Carino, Andrew Carino, he transferred over from Parks onto my staff. And his expertise is just, it's phenomenal. He's got a very extensive background in environmental studies as well as protection. And he brings some much needed calm waters to our office because SWIP inspections, as we'll get into, get very complicated. So today we're just gonna do a quick presentation. This is by no means a training, okay? This is an overview of everything that the town of Canandaigua has within what I would call our arsenal or our toolbox for environmental protection. We're gonna be specific on hydrologic protection, so dealing with our waters, streams, floodplains, wetlands, items like that, okay? Currently, I have given this presentation to the town planning board. There were a lot of questions. Feel free to ask as many questions as you want, right? If I don't know the answer, I'll get back to you with it. That's kind of the beauty of having the staff that we have, is everyone has an expertise in different areas. All right. End goal is we're gonna give this presentation to all three boards, being the ECB, you guys, the planning board, and the zoning board. From there, we're gonna use this as a springboard to have some more communication, teamwork, as well as just broaden out everyone's, horizon and knowledge base. That way you can utilize all those tools in that toolbox. All right. So we're gonna start off identifying these resources that we have within Canandaigua. Hydrologic, we're gonna look at hydrologic, we're gonna kind of narrow this down. Does anyone know what HUC 10 is or what the HUC levels are?
No,
All right, so the HUC levels are watersheds. Generally, HUC 10 is not the smallest, it's the second to smallest. There are 6 levels. They go by the even numbers. HUC 10 is anywhere from, I want to say 4,000 to 20,000 square acres in size. Okay. Looking at Canandaigua, we have 3 of these areas that are within our municipality. First one, probably the most important or most recognizable, being the Canandaigua Lake watershed. The watershed, or the water body, excuse me, is 10,000, just over 10,000 square acres. It is an AATS water body classification. Anyone know what that is offhand? AA stands for, it's a designation by DEC stating that it is a water body that supports drinking water. So it's the highest level classification that you can have within DEC's criteria. It's also good for open recreation, fishing, it supports everything else underneath these classifications. The TS, that clearly just says that it's trout spawning. They try to get these complicated with AA and then C and B and then trout spawning. They're like, we're just gonna put TS, make it simple for everyone. So Canandaigua Lake as a whole supports trout spawning. It provides more than 70,000 people clean drinking water. I'm sure you guys remember some of the projects on Sandy Beach with the water lines that go all the way up to Newark and Palmyra, and we provide drinking water well outside of Canandaigua. All right. And the watershed size is actually more than 170 square miles. All right. So I know we only focus on our small little area, but predominantly it is a vast area that needs to be protected. The other HUC 10 level is going to be the Canandaigua Lake outlet. That is a 34-mile Class C stream. Class C, again, another DEC identifier designation. Class C indicates that it supports open recreation, being fishing. They say swimming. I personally wouldn't go swimming in the Canandaigua outlet. Maybe a little bit north up in Schwartzville, but definitely not in the little stagnant part that we have. It's a completely natural outfall of Canandaigua Lake and eventually discharges at Lock 27 for the Erie Canal. It's just outside of Palmyra area. All right. That watershed is roughly 188 square miles in size. It takes a really weird jog. Most people think the outlet just kind of runs straight north. It really confuses me because it runs east and then west and then back north. The other watershed, which I had to do a lot of research on, is the SBK-WS Divide Hathaway Brook. We were recently, our stormwater program was audited by the Environmental Protection Agency for federal government. And they asked me, like, what is that? I've got no idea. So I had to go through a whole bunch of books. It's actually just Mud Creek. That's all it is.
That's the one that crosses under Brace Road, right?
Yep. Yeah, so it's just a Mud Creek watershed is kind of the general term for it. Mud Creek being a 38-mile, again, Class C stream. That outfall is, again, Lock 27. Interesting fact. Mud Creek used to actually outfall into Canada, and that was diverted back in the 60s to alleviate some flood concerns. So to kind of minimize how much drainage area was going to those communities. And that watershed is roughly 141 square miles in size.
The Mud Creek that runs through Bristol.
Yep. Yeah. So Bristol's kind of the head mount or head portion of the creek, runs all the way up to Village of Victor, and then from Village of Victor up through Farmington, and then eventually
I'm trying to think of how that affects the town of Canandaigua.
the watershed. So that watershed actually butts out.
Okay, it's a
Yeah.
watershed, not
Yep.
the.
Correct. Yeah. So that's why looking at a Huck 10 level, this is what we start at. If we looked at it at a Huck 8 level, the whole town would be in one giant watershed, and it's the Lake Ontario, Northern Genesee watershed. It's just not really controllable, so we bring it down to the Huck 10. Interesting fact: we've actually gone well past Huck 12 between the municipalities and the Canada Lake Watershed Council. We can actually tell you within 1 square acre or square mile, the sub watershed or sub sewer shed as we call it. So we can get pretty close to, if you say, here's the house, where's this water going? We can tell you what portion of Tishner Gully it's going to discharge into. Sometimes we're as close as within a foot as far as an outfall point. Other areas we're good 50 feet. We still got to get out there and actually walk.
So you're talking like the little streams and gullies and things like that?
Yeah, so at Huck 10,
Runoff streams.
Yep. Yeah, and it's-
Seasonal.
Yep, and where it helps us is when we're trying to trace whether it's stormwater problems or illicit discharges, dumping. We can go through and identify where it is, and then instead of dealing with the whole Canada Lake watershed area, we can now take that into about 1 square mile area, and then do some point source tracing.
Does the town have that database or is that county or?
Yeah, so it's the database is from the watershed council, but we have it with our GIS, so that we have constant
Is that
access.
open to the public or?
It is.
By request?
Yep. Yeah, just gotta request it and then we'll provide it. We can either provide it in layer, if you guys are familiar with GIS, or we can just do printouts. So pretty cool system that we have. A more interactive way of looking at that though, that I personally love, is called River Runner. I'll share the link out with the group. It's a GIS system that a college student put together a few years ago, where if you click on your house, it'll tell you exactly the path of travel of that water all the way up to Lake Ontario. And it's a national, so it'll tell you wherever it's going. And it'll give you kind of like an aerial, it's gonna sound really weird, Soaring from Disney. You guys know the ride? You know, you go out and it takes you through like California and stuff with an aerial image. The exact same thing. It's pretty cool.
River Runner.
Yep, River Runner. All right. Yeah, we're gonna narrow down a little bit. So streams, riparian corridors, ponds, and wetlands. Canada has more than 121 miles of total map streams. Along with those, you can reasonably assume that we have 242 miles of riparian corridors. Riparian corridors being the land that is immediately adjacent to those streams. I have always used the 100-foot method. Some people utilize 150-foot. 100-foot is kind of, it works with our municipal code. But if you go 100 feet from stream center, then you'll have your riparian corridor. There's some debate if it's stream center or stream bank. Depends on who you talk to, but that's usually the riparian corridor. Farm ponds, we have 220 acres approximately throughout the town of Canandaigua of artificial or farm ponds. Wetlands, I tried everything to get everyone like a good data or quantity of how much area we have of wetlands. It's impossible. So a lot more than 220 acres. When I started looking at it, I put it into my AI system and it just blew up in my face. It was like, good try. But we also have ever-changing regulations. If you guys remember this year, DEC came out with a new wetland regulation that's thrown everyone for a loop. To the point where I've got a meeting with DEC hopefully next week to go over the new wetlands. So
How does Sucker Brook fit into the watersheds?
Sucker Brook is a sub watershed of the Canandaigua Lake watershed.
Okay.
Sucker Brook is actually really weird. Kind of the headwaters of it are Pierce Brook, probably about 5 miles outside of Pierce Brook. Are the headwaters. It then will jetty down towards 5 and 20 area. It shoots north, believe it or not, crosses, and then it comes back through Outhouse Park. Okay. So that's when we really look at the true central stream. It takes a really weird path. It's got a lot of different drainage features. The primary areas that we monitor for Sucker Brook are the areas near Outhouse Park and kind of the divide being 5 and 20. This side, obviously being the northern portion of Sucker Brook, this is what hits Outhouse Park. This southern portion goes behind Zion Fellowship, and then it enters Sucker Brook just near the cemetery, Woodlawn. So, it's got a really weird path, but
Well,
floodplains, again, near and dear to my heart being a CFM. Town of Canandaigua, we have 918 acres. Now this is rough because again, I had to use some AI learning tools. But we have 918 acres of identified floodplain area. That does include Canandaigua Lake portion of the municipality. I couldn't cut that out. But the better numbers for these, out of that area, we have 823 parcels within the 1% flood zone, and a grand total of 1,364 parcels in the 0.5%. The 1% and the 0.5, most commonly referred to as 100-year and 500-year. As a regulator, CFM, and administrator, I hate those terms because when I say that you live in the 100-year flood zone or the 1%, you're gonna say, oh, I just had the flood in 23. I'm good. I got till 21, 23. We're good.
Oh, we're not that group.
No, when I'm talking usually to the property owners.
Not what it means.
Exactly. So that's why we're really transitioning from 100-year to a 1%. I mean, that's truly what it is. And the 0.5. Those numbers are taken from the draft maps. It's been a constant struggle for me, but the town of Canandaigua, in conjunction with DEC and FEMA, have been going through a map process since 2018. The maps have been drawn up twice. They're being drawn up a third time. The latest update I got was 24 to 26 months, and that was a month ago.
Before the shutdown.
Before the shutdown, yeah. So, you know, hopefully it's a week long and not months. But we're hoping to get those because it really expanded our floodplain areas. A lot of people came into my office and argued the floodplains have always been there. When we had the flooding in 23, which coincidentally was 2 weeks after I started here, and you can see me in this corner, then one of those guys right there. I got the phone call, it wasn't raining in my house, it was a nice blue sunshiny day in Bloomfield, and I got the call.
So the south part of the town and,
That was crazy.
Yeah,
I happened to be driving through it. I'd never seen it rain so hard in my
Yeah.
life.
yeah, and when we went through with FEMA, especially in the post-incident management, we mapped it and we said, wow, these new maps are like within 10 feet of where the floodwaters stopped. So, I mean, the new maps are pretty close. Whereas the maps that we currently have effective are from 1997. And they really weren't updated, so it's really 1977 data. They were just redrawn in 97. In that June 23 flood, we, the town, experienced approximately $3 million in damages. That is purely to public infrastructure. When we tried to pull the private information, there's a little bit of a legal process to get that. We have it, I just can't publicly share it. But it was right around the same number from that flood. Now that does include the city and the town. And a good note here is that a 1% rain event in Canandaigua is roughly 3 to 4.5 inches of rain in 24 hours. So these massive rains that we've been getting that are dumping 3 inches in an hour, those aren't 100-year floods or 1%, those are getting in that 500-year range. At least for intensity. And we're seeing a drastic increase in intensity and frequency. Whereas previously it was you'd have really intense events, the frequency just wasn't there. Now they're starting to catch up where they're in a new way. So now we've gone through what our resources are. Now, why do we have to protect these? Canada, being a municipality, we have to abide by regulations just like developers and property owners. Biggest ones being Clean Water Act, which is under the EPA. Clean Water Act is where our MS4, which is our municipal separate storm sewer system designation comes from. That is where we have to, in a sense, be responsible for a lot of things DEC does in other areas. Because we have a what's called urban community, we're required to monitor and inspect all of our storm sewer discharge, construction activities, as well as provide public information and outreach, which, to be honest, pat yourselves on the back because your guys' group provided me with so much information in my EPA audit. The EPA was like, you guys do great. We don't have to worry about public information and outreach.
Welcome.
So I appreciate it. All right. Kim sent me all the copies of everything, and I was like, I love this. Thank you so much. It made me so happy.
And we do share a lot of information one-off.
Oh,
with the property owners and that.
yes, ma'am. Another big one is Title 44, Part 60 of the CFR or Code of Federal Regulations. This is FEMA. Title 44, Part 60 has to deal with the NFIP. Town of Canandaigua, just like every other municipality in New York State, is a participant in the National Flood Insurance Program. That's where you guys may see a lot of my comments talking about floodplains and elevating structures and flood vents. That's where all that comes from. In order for us to provide discounted flood insurance through FEMA, we have to enforce these regulations. And believe it or not, a lot of people are actually required to carry flood insurance. If you have a federally backed mortgage, if you have ever accepted emergency money from the federal government, then for a property, then you are required to carry flood insurance on that property.
If you're in the floodplain.
If you're in the 100-year floodplain at the 1%. Interestingly enough, the new New York State Code was just adopted officially yesterday. The current regulations only require us to enforce those regulations on structures within that 100-year 1% floodplain. New York State is actually expanding that. So now every structure within the 500-year floodplain of the 0.5% will also have to be elevated and meet the same standards of everyone that's in the 1%. So those 1,300 parcels, we got a lot of work to do in the town of Canandaigua in the next year. Those are our two main federal regulations. Looking state, New York State Article 17, water pollution control. This is the same as the Clean Water Act. It's just the state level. So sometimes DEC follows Clean Water Act and we're okay. We don't have to do anything else. Sometimes we got to go straight up to the federal level for our regulatory. And the Freshwater Wetlands Act or New York State Article 24. While the town of Canandaigua is not directly required to be a part of the regulatory process for wetlands, it's important because property owners don't know. So we need to provide them the information. We need to get them the jurisdictional determinations, because if you disturb a wetland, you could be facing up to $10,000 fines. So we try to provide that notification process. Now, we also have our town policies and plans. We're not going to read these, I promise you. Kim has the slideshow. I think, have you already shared it?
I shared
Okay.
this. with-
Perfect. So these are just excerpts from the different policies and plans. The four big ones being the comp plan, the NRI, the stormwater management program plan for the swamp, and the site design criteria. All of these have to do with environmental. So all of these excerpts are, they're not, I had to dig, they're all within the scope or the purpose of that document. So right off the bat, these are kind of our guides, right? These aren't the tools, these aren't the regulatory aspects, these are what we look to say, here's where we are, where should we be going? There's been a lot of talk about the comp plan and updating that. Biggest thing that we're gonna be doing is actually seeing how far we've come with the current comp plan before we're gonna talk about it. The NRI is gonna need some work in the next few years. 2020, just needs to get looked at, updated. Stormwater management plan and swamp plan, that's been updated this year, and we're going through another rewrite 2 months after we just did one. And site design criteria we just passed as well. Each of these have different goals, different objectives for us to meet. And they're kind of our guides to resolve all this. We also have residential impacts. So safeguarding public health, again, 70,000 people require Canandaigua Lake for drinking water. We want to protect Canandaigua Lake for the drinking water, recreation, and tourism. We also want to prevent flooding and erosion, preserve the quality of life, and also support our local economy. Canandaigua Lake is the #1 tourism driver in this area. It's never ending the amount of areas that lake touches in the sense of tourism, property values, finance, grant administration aspects, that all benefit the town. So protecting that is huge.
It used to be in marketing and, yeah, they will, I mean, Los Angeles Times had like this great big write up on basically us.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, yeah, they're pulling people in from all
Everywhere.
over. It really is the economic engine here.
Yeah, they said the IDA just said that the Fire and Ice Festival last year was the most attended event in the Rochester area. During what quarter of the year that was.
The off season.
The off season, yeah.
February.
So not when Rochester's got Fringe Festival and all the nice stuff that everyone goes to, Jazz Fest, but still it's a huge driver. So we've gone over the what, the why. This is really the meat and potatoes, is what tools we have. This is where after this presentation, I really would like some feedback. What areas do you guys want to investigate more? What areas do you have questions? So keep those in mind when you're going through this. If there's a chapter of code that you've never heard of before, reach out and I'll happily just meet with you one-on-one or through an email and I'll work with it. That way you guys know what tools you have at your disposal. Even though you're an advisory board, I'll be brutally honest with you, the planning board takes your recommendations very seriously. And we're making some steps when we go over that to have you guys involved more. And it goes a very long way when you say, we recommend this project for approval or denial, and especially if that denial is tied to an exact code with a citation that says, here's why. Then it's not a, well, I just don't like it. I get accused of that a lot when I recommend denials, so I've learned my lesson with those. So, again, we're not gonna go over these,
Could we point to the comp plan or the other plans?
You could. yeah,
Okay.
you could,
Things are a little softer sometimes.
they are, the problem with the comp plan and the other like policies, I'll say, is they're guiding documents. Even though, yes, we need to abide by them, they're more long-term and goal-oriented. What you'll see is a lot of what's in the comp plan is actually buried in code. It's just interpretation of it. The #1 that we'll get to is actually our subdivision law, which requires that if you're gonna do a development, you shall preserve all natural resources on the property unless required to be disturbed for the development. So what does that mean? Well, as the code officer who can interpret our town code, I interpret that as, okay, if you're putting in a driveway, why are you clearing a 50-foot swath? Your driveway is 20 foot wide. You don't need to clear out all those trees. Now, if you need to clear out trees around your house so that they don't fall in 10, 20 years, full-heartedly agree with it. That's great. But you don't need to be clear cutting lawns. Those days should be long gone. We learned our lesson. Items like that are really,
Okay.
they're in here and they're interpretation based, but we can utilize. And those meet the comp plans. First one we'll go over is our flood damage prevention law. Again, this is tied to that NFIP coverage for the town of Canandaigua. This law, we are looking at rewriting. I've had a draft. I've been going back and forth with FEMA for probably the better part of a year, as well as New York State Department of State, because we want to become more restrictive than New York State. So again, we've learned our lessons. My second week on the job, I was nearly waist high in floodwaters, and there's how House Park from June. So you know, I've been dabbling with.
Ships floating.
Yeah.
That was the joke. I would. The pirate ships, I think.
Yes.
The worst part about that was the day after the flood, Doug Finch came to my office. He's like, have you ever tested for E. coli? He's like, yeah, in water. He's like, how about in mulch? I was like, I don't think you can test for E. coli on mulch. So we dragged all the mulch out. We're like, we're not even testing it. We're just replacing all the rubber mulch because better safe than sorry. So, but chapter 115, this chapter regulates disturbance within floodplains, development within floodplains, requires permitting for anything within the SFHA, which is at 1%. A lot of people don't know, and we issue predominantly the most violations for this chapter. If you're painting your house, whether it's interior or exterior, you need a floodplain development permit. If you're changing your carpet, you need a floodplain development permit. If you're doing anything that does not require you to plug it in, if it requires more work than to plug it in or just place, it requires a floodplain development permit. Reason why we charge no fee for it. It's a service that we provide, part of the NFIP, because if you have a flood insurance policy and you go through that policy coverage and you request coverage, FEMA's going to contact my office. They're going to say, hey, pull all the floodplain development permits you ever issued so that you get a fair assessment on your property. They're not going to go off your tax assessment. They're going to go off that. And then they'll say, when was that reassessment done? They'll take all the values that you've put into that house and they'll add it in there. So we're the bad guys, but at the same time, we're doing it for a good cause. And a lot of people don't know. But we actually require all structures within the floodplain to be elevated 2 feet above base flood elevation. Give us a little wiggle room. Or we have to require flood vents. Flood vents allow the passage of water not only in, but out of the structure. That way you're reducing a lot of those hydrodynamic forces. Okay. We have chapter 165. Chapter 165 ensures that all site disturbance is planned responsibility, is permitted, and is overseen. We have different areas. This is a chapter that we're rewriting right now, but if you're within the RLD and you disturb 500 square feet, or you have 5 cubic yards of cut or fill, you need a permit for that. We require soil and erosion control. We require all those plans to be submitted, and then we require construction site oversight. So that includes my guys going out on a weekly basis, sometimes daily, to check to make sure that all of your stormwater measures are in place and that you're taking care of it properly and responsibly. Outside the RLD, that area expands greatly from 500 square feet to 2,000. It also expands from 5 cubic yards to 100. So we're trying to bring those together and create one law that's townwide because it gets really confusing for people.
So I have one question, the chapter
Yeah.
115.
Yep.
So when the town has it so that it's 2 feet more above the actual grade.
Yep.
That's required, I mean, ultimately that will probably mean more disturbance for the area. Or
No.
is it just fill material being brought in and?
So we discourage fill material. And
Okay.
actually you can't bring in fill material unless it's been approved by my office and certified to have no rise in the base flood elevation. What that means is predominantly what will happen is there's a project on Sandy Beach where the slab was elevated. So they poured monolithic slab on footers, they then 2 foot thick concrete all the way across.
Okay.
And that's what they built off. We do have some areas where they'll bring in fill, but it's contained all within the structure area. It's not being diverted off. It's basically just structural fill to then build a slab on top of.
And that, so like that example you said,
Mhm.
like that's engineered and everything for
Yep.
subsidence, all that stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, they have to actually provide us with a no rise certificate. It's a FEMA form, where they've gone through everything. We don't require it for them all. We're reasonable. If you're bringing in 4 cubic yards of fill, that's not going to rise anything, right? So I'd hate to have an engineer go through and charge you $5,000 to do a no rise cert when, as a CFM, I can tell you it's not the price.
2 feet of concrete, that's a lot of dough.
It's a lot. Oh yeah, that one was more tricky because, you know, we've got a minimum frost depth of 42 inches in town of Canandaigua, so you gotta go to minimum 42 for your footers. They were down at 6 feet, I got a phone call, I'm like, Mike, we got a problem. We're 6 feet down in the ground and we're still pulling out tree stumps and trash. I'm like, you're still in fill. We're still in fill. So believe it or not, Sandy Beach, Poplar Beach, none of that existed. So if you actually look at the old maps, all of that was fill material that was just dumped into the lake. In the early 1900s,
Your
and
kitchen is all that.
At least it's not the black goo at the other end.
yeah, that's
The
yeah.
old coal tar factory.
Yeah, there was just below Butler Road, there was a new house going in. And when I say I believe it was a wheel from a Model T, I think it was a wheel from a Model T. It was so old. I wish the GC let me keep it. That's all I gotta say. So, yeah, chapter 115 and floodplains, it's a huge deal. And there's a lot of engineering that goes into it. So I actually just talked to a gentleman today who said, why do you have to make this so complicated? And I have a bookshelf hanging on my wall in the office. There's 6 binders that are just all the floodplain regulations, guidelines, and bulletins. And I said, because I have to go through every single one of those to make sure your project is compliant. And he just leaves, okay, I understand.
And that way you get the check.
Yep,
That's worth more if something happens.
exactly.
You know, and 23 flood must help there.
Yeah.
It does. The other big thing is that the flood insurance rates actually used to be based off the map. So it didn't matter what you did to your structure, everyone got charged the same. Now in 2024, it was finally commissioned. FEMA now utilizes what's called flood insurance rate 2.0 or flood risk 2.0. Flood risk 2.0 takes into account everything that you've done to that structure, and it gives you a significant decrease in your premiums. So we have seen structures that meet the town of Canandaigua and New York State guidelines be substantially, sometimes 75% less than what you'd be paying in premiums if you were at or below the BFE, the base flood elevation. So a lot of the work that we've done is really helping a lot of these people. By not only meeting the minimums, but we go above and beyond with elevation certificates and more things that help the homeowner later on. As well as
Does that get out there and outreach by any means, or?
It does. We try our best, but with so many hats that we have, a lot of it's project based and more the door to door type stuff. And we're out noticing things happening. Because a lot of people just don't know.
Seems like a nice newsletter thing.
I was gonna say, if there's anything that you wanna share,
The last newsletter I did was when I thought the maps were gonna become effective. I did this really great 1 page. And then I sat in a meeting with FEMA and they're like, hey, so by the way, your neighbors to the southwest are requiring an appeal. So they went through an appeal process, 3 communities in Ontario County. So they got to redraw the entire county map, which is a mess. But all right, chapter 170 is near and dear to my heart, being responsible for a lot of the MCMs in our MS4 program. I know I'm throwing a lot of acronyms at you. I promise it's less than what FEMA throws at you. All right.
I'll bet.
I took a FEMA course. I sat down and I got a binder. I said, oh, is this the course material? They said, no, this is your Bible. This has all the definitions of all the acronyms in FEMA. I'm like, cool. And that binder was named with an acronym. So, yeah.
there's fewer than.
Yes.
Oh, wait, what is MCM?
MCM is minimum control measure. So being an MS4 or a municipality that operates a municipal separate storm sewer system, we are required to meet 6 MCMs by DEC and EPA regulations. Those are MCM1, which is our public information. We have MCM2, which is our public outreach and involvement. MCM3 is our illicit discharge and detection elimination. We have MCM4, which is our construction oversight. MCM5 is, I know you're gonna do this to me, I should have read up on it.
That's before he takes out.
Yeah, right. I'm blank not. All right, I know MCM6 is good housekeeping, I'll get back to you on
Okay.
MCM5.
No worries, no worries. I didn't need to know it now.
Oh,
I'm
it's-
curious of that.
yeah.
That gives you an idea.
Oh, post
What is
construction.
speed? What's that speed?
Yep. So Speedies is storm pollution, something.
Okay.
Long story short, what a Speedies permit is it allows you to discharge into a conveyance body or stream. Think of your construction sites that you guys see. You'll see a lot of them that are over an acre. You'll see a lot of times SWIP. SWIP stands for Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan. anything with an acre or more of disturbance in New York State requires a speedies permit. And that allows them to basically disturb more than an acre of soil. It allows a portion of that disturbed area to be discharged. Because ultimately you're never gonna get totally 100% clean discharged waters, so it gives them gradient level. Chapter 170 is where we get the powers for MCM 4 and 5. Again, 4 being our construction site observation, 5 being our post-construction or stormwater ponds. Okay. I got it that time.
Yeah,
All right, we're
you're
good.
just joking.
So this chapter absolutely deals with us and our compliance with DEC regulation from the EPA. The town is required to provide oversight of all construction projects that are over an acre that have those speedies permits. The town, we go well far above and beyond, to the point where in our audit, the EPA looked at me and said, Mike, you're crazy. Why are you doing this to your guys? We inspect all of our sites on 4 different levels. Any site over 1 acre is graded. It can either be an inactive, which means nothing's going on. It could be shut down. It could just not be started. It could be fully stabilized and we're out there. It could be on a temporary stop. Most times that's during the winter. It could be a low risk or a high risk. We define low risk and high risk based on size, how much disturbed area they have, as well as how close they are to a regulated water body, Class C stream, the lake. And we align those criteria with, and the grades, with inspections. So if you are shut down, we're gonna inspect your project once a month. By law, we're only required to inspect construction sites once a year. If you're not doing work, we're inspecting your site once a month, because a lot of people don't tell us what they're doing. If you're temporarily shut down, we're gonna check your site every other week. If you are disturbing less than 5 acres, or you are further away than a mile from a water body, regulated water body, we're gonna inspect your site once a week. If you are over 5 acres or within a mile of a regulated water body, we inspect your site twice a week. All right. For instance, if you are disturbing 1 to 5 acres, DEC only requires the developers to inspect their site once a week. If you're disturbing 5 or more, DEC requires you to inspect your site twice a week. We go above and beyond because a lot of times what happens is we've noticed some sites don't get inspected regularly. Some sites will be issued recommendations and they don't actually act on those. They'll be issued remediation requests. They don't act on those. We also just understand that we have a very amazing resource, being Canandaigua Lake and our water resources in the town. We want to protect those. We've learned our lessons. I've been out there, I've been in court cases with sites, I've shut sites down. I currently have a site that's been shut down for 2.5 years. Because they weren't following the rules. So I've learned our lesson. We keep working on it, and that's why I'm very fortunate to have a stormwater inspector. And this is all he does, is stormwater. So that's where this comes in. This also requires the stormwater management ponds. Quick note on those. When a development is coming in and they require stormwater mitigation, they're only required to mitigate to the pre-development standard. Okay, so in a sense, layman's terms, they don't need to make the situation better. They need to maintain the situation, status quo. So what we'll see is we'll have a site that we know has stormwater issues. By regulation, they only need to meet the minimums. They don't need to go any further to basically improve that situation. That's one thing that we're trying to change, being home rule. Continuing on, chapter 172 is our illicit discharge detection and elimination. This requires us to monitor all of our storm sewer conveyances at outfalls. We have about 80 something outfalls in the town of Canandaigua that, again, by regulation, we only need to monitor once every 5 years. We've got about 40 that we need to monitor once a year. We monitor every single outfall in the town of Canandaigua twice a year. So we go out, we do dry weather inspections, and we check for any characteristics of improper disposal of fluids, dumping, illegal connections, basically anything and everything. And we go through all of those. This also gives us our legal ability to what we call point source tracing or tracking. believe it or not, this law actually gives us the ability where if we believe that there's an environmental issue or violation, we can cross property lines to determine that. There's some regulatory aspects that we need to monitor as far as how far we can be into the property and everything else, but it gives us that legal ability. 174, yeah, this is the big one for interpretation. This includes requirements for considering storm and surface drainage. It requires the preservation of all NRI features, requires existing vegetation to be preserved, and allows the planning board discretion with a more stringent stormwater. So, if you guys recall, project only needs to maintain the situation. Chapter 174 is where the planning board gets the ability to say, nope, time out. We've got a problem. You need to fix that before we allow you to make this problem worse. Possibly. Or at least maintain the problem. Planning board has a lot of discretion here, and when I mentioned this to them, I've gotten 3 emails from the different members that are like, please tell me more. I need to read this chapter and really allow them to use these tools. And it's a lot of interpretation based because it deals directly with the comp plan and those goals. Chapter 202 is our wastewater on-site, our on-site wastewater systems. We actually have more stringent requirements than Department of Health for New York State in regards to sizing and inspections. If you have a septic system within 200 feet of the lakeshore, you are required to do periodic inspections. That is once every 5 years. That is a program that's monitored by Ontario County Soil and Water and the Canada Lake Sewer wastewater inspector. If you are outside that area, you are only required to inspect your septic system on the conveyance of the real property. So every time you sell the property, which is a legal problem because by the time we find out that you've sold your property, it's already sold. And technically the violation goes to the new property owner, but by the law, it says the old property owner is in violation. It's a very weird, convoluted legal issue that we're trying to solve. It also allows us to require upgrades to failing systems. We have the ability with this law to basically remediate the system. So if we notice that a leach field has failed, the town is able to go in and cap your system and turn it into a holding tank until that system is fixed. And then we can go through and implement mitigation measures beyond that, whether it be regular maintenance with pumping, or we had one where we had a system fail and that actually led into a Class C stream. We had to go through the process of remediation. We used a lot of highway labor, a lot of county labor, and we remediated all that internally without having to elevate it up to DEC level. So
How are you typically made aware of these situations? Neighbors follow,
sometimes, a lot of it is the county soil and water inspector is amazing. He is out in the area all the time as well as my guys. So it's a lot of that. Hey, I smell something weird. What's going on? The other thing is because of our illicit discharge detection elimination, we've caught at least 5 just from that alone, where we start to see some effluent discharge in the water and we start tracking it down. Yeah. The last one we had was actually, we had a sewage discharge into the lake. We were notified by the water treatment plant. We brought in drones, we brought in county sewer, we brought in soil and water, we brought in 4 other code enforcement officers from 4 different municipalities. We did a whole bunch of tracing. Ultimately, we never found a source. We were able to estimate that it was a single discharge event. So we got a lot of different means and measures. I'm very thankful that hopefully this budget will pass. The tentative budget was approved. And the town of Canandaigua was making an investment to get our department drone, which will definitely help with tracking a lot of these.
every time fluorescein in the toilets. And
All the
flush them
time.
And then run down the street.
I buy 6 gallons a year of dye. 6 gallons of dye a year. Excuse me. I go through a lot of dye. Not so much for failed systems testing. We'll actually go through, we use 2 cups because a lot of times what happens is no one knows where their leach fields are. So we buy red dye, we'll throw more in there. Usually we do about a cup for a flush before trying to see if it failed. We'll do 2 cups and that will actually make it to the surface and allow us to see at least where something is. So we got a lot of different tools in toolbox. And one of the things that we've also made the investment in is markers. So they're plastic markers, they drill into the ground and think of it as a property stake, you know, a corner stake, except it's plastic, but the stake is metal. So that if we ever get called again, we have the metal detectors and we're able to actually find where your system components are. And we go through and etch out what component is marked. So that way, we'll label it like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we draw out your system and it helps us 10, 20 years down the line. Chapter 220. This is one of our most comprehensive and progressive. This includes provisions for steep slope protections. I'm already reading into steep slopes. I've heard from a little birdie that there's a lot of questions on steep slopes. I don't even understand steep slopes. Thankfully, I'm not working in the planning and zoning office.
We got one we're looking at tonight, which is all steep slope.
Yep. One thing too, I want to preface this just in case for anyone watching this recording later. This presentation has nothing to do with any current projects. This is again just a brief overview. Just wanted to put that out there. Lot coverage and building coverage are within here. Reason why I bring these ones up is they're near and dear to my heart. I have been issuing recommendations for denials on all the variances for lot coverage and
We
building
do a lot of
coverage.
denials for it.
Yeah. The reason why I put this one in there is I'll bring it up is because one project may not be the piece of straw that broke the camel's back, but we continue to keep issuing these and not resolving the issues. Eventually we're gonna hit a breaking point. So
You're preaching to the choir here.
same with water course setbacks, those are near and dear to my heart because I have to deal with the issues when the house gets flooded 10 years later after it's been built, because they built 20 feet from a stream. And surprise, surprise, streams overtop their banks pretty regularly in this town. Preservation of natural features is another one. It's not only included in subdivision, it's also included in zoning. It actually specifically says they need to maintain all existing trees, brooks, and drainage on the property. So not only do we have it within site design, zoning, subdivision, 15 other chapters that you can't direct drainage towards neighboring properties. We also have it in zoning. So. Again, these little tidbits that are in here, it's just, they're more tools for us to say.
Might be helpful on this, if you add like a little code.
I've got them in
Yeah,
my
here.
notes.
Yeah.
They're all in the notes.
Yeah.
Special use permits I just put on here because these are uncommon, they pose more of a risk. It also allows the planning board to have more flexibility in the requirements that they possess. Think of commercial property in a residential neighborhood. Refuse control, rubbish, noise, sound, items like that. And we also have our technical partners. I have to give a shout out to all these groups. Kennewick Lake Watershed Council, think of Kevin Albany. Even though he stole Sarah Reynolds from the town, and I'm very happy this is being recorded. I've said this to Kevin numerous times. He's not my friend anymore because of that. He does a lot of great work for this town. The council as a whole. They are tremendous in dealing with a lot of the issues we currently have. Since I've been here, the Watershed Council, in coordination with the town of Kennewick, has completed several projects for stormwater mitigation. One of the few, or a few of the most noticeable, will be the Fiorello property on 5 and 20. That was a private public partnership to reduce a lot of those headwaters in CFS from entering Sucker Brook. We had a project on Middle Cheshire Road, again, another private public partnership. Where, believe it or not, I was waist deep in silt because a crop field wasn't planted and we were getting actual silt and sediment washing into people's houses through back doors. So we formed a partnership. It's been planted as, I believe it's ryegrass right now. It's gonna be hay next year. And we built a berm, a diversion berm, to really divert a lot of that flow off of that field and into the roadside ditch. Another one is Dual Road. That's been a huge stormwater management facility that the town's undertaken. That we've just actually expanded upon. Those are just the ones within town. They also do a lot of work down in Naples, Middlesex, Gorham. They're working right now on Cottage Cove. So, something in Gorham, or Cottage City. whatever that, yeah, I can't remember the development name. Cottage City. They're doing a massive mitigation project down there that's, you'll see a lot of cranes. That's all I can say about it because it's very tight. MRB engineers, they provide our technical review related to the more regulatory aspects. They also provide us engineering services. Even though CFM stormwater inspector, I can't do the work of an engineer. So I'm not CPEST yet, so I can't go through and do stormwater calculations. So that's where we gotta send it off to our engineering partners. Ontario County Soil and Water, again, they review all of our on-site wastewater treatment systems within Canada Lake watershed. They control the periodic inspection program. They are instrumental to project specific comments, planning board for the county. They work directly with the staff. They also are probably one of my greatest resources for agriculture. So agriculture, they don't have any limitations when it comes to soil and water and disturbances and mitigation efforts. So soil and water does a lot of the funding research and gets funding for these projects with agriculture. They also do a lot of outreach so that we don't have bare fields, so that we don't have projects where you're tilling while it's pouring about 2 inches of rain or something, the next day. They're doing a lot of this research and talking and information messaging. The Ontario Wayne Stormwater Coalition. This is a new group that we joined this year officially. It's a group of 9 municipalities from Ontario and Wayne County. This is purely focused on our compliance with the MS4 program and speedies permits. They provide training. If you guys remember the training that got sent out in November, that is again a part of the Stormwater Coalition. So I'm proud to say I'm on that education committee. We've put that together. We got a lot of great speakers coming in. I gotta put that little 2-second plug in there. If you haven't signed up yet, sign up. I know you have. Got you all set. Kim's signed up. We'll be going over a lot of the new MS4 requirements, some stormwater stuff that's coming into effect. Biggest one is going to be a presentation on Sucker Brook. And the work that Kevin O'Baney with the Watershed Council has been working on between the city and the town. Finger Lakes Land Trust, I put them on here because they monitor some conservation easements within the town. They're also just a huge help with technical expertise. I reach out to them regularly with whether it's a conservation easement question, whether it's a hey, what species would work well when Kim's not around. Every once in a while she's off. It's rare, but every once in a while she's off. And the last one is our property owners. They are paramount, smart development, conservation easements, all of this stuff with their projects. It helps us also. Right. Utilizing these tools, we're gonna just quickly run through different roles of each group. Kind of broaden out what you guys think ECB's role is, as well as informing you with what everyone else does. Staff, we got the planning and zoning office. They are responsible for all of the projects prior to actual construction. So they don't issue out the permits. They're the ones working with each of your boards to make sure they meet all the local laws and the regulatory guidelines. They are key to promoting environmental conscious efforts and practices, as well as alternatives. One of the big ones we recently did was a project that had a lot coverage variance request. The property owner didn't like our recommendation for denial. So we worked with them, said, hey, provide some infiltrations, provide some management of that area that may be in your favor with the ZBA, the planning board. That way you're just not asking for it, you're offsetting that. So we do a lot of that. There's a lot of phone calls behind the scenes that go on between applicants and planning and zoning office. My team, we've got the expertise in floodplains, stormwater regulations, legal processing, and on-site wastewater treatment. Everyone on my staff is a certified Seneca County, Cayuga County, and one other county septic inspectors. We don't have a septic inspection course in Ontario County, so I gotta send my guys out to Seneca County to get that. We educate applicants, developers, contractors. We do a more holistic approach to the regulations, especially in the pre-plan aspect. We're not gonna go through and say that piece of silt fence is wrong. We're kind of planning projects. We're looking at projects. How can I offset your development? Excuse me. We also ensure compliance. Again, like I said, we're out on these sites nearly. And then the biggest one is we collect data. for a future plan. One of the things we're doing next year is we're doing weather collectors. So we're actually getting some cellular and solar powered weather data collectors. So we can do rainfall monitoring throughout the town. We'll move them around. We'll kind of see what we're getting storm wise so that we can better look at projects and stormwater facilities and see what areas can be improved on. Also, anytime that it rains more than a half an inch within 2 hours, I send my guys out the next day to every single construction site in the town of Kennebec, no matter how much soil we disturb. Because a half an inch of rain in 2 hours may not seem like a lot, but it doesn't take a lot to rip silt fence. So we check everything. Planning board, they review all the proposals, they ensure everything is complying with all of our environmental standards, zoning laws. They are the last defense, right? If something is wrong, they're the ones that can continue it, they can hold it up, they can just outright deny it. They implement the town comp plan, they're responsible for seeker. Seeker, believe it or not, trying to get some people on this, shouldn't be just a very quick process, you should go through and look at it. You should look at it holistically and say, hey, let's go through each of these. I'm all in favor for using the long form for everything, just for that reason. They also coordinate and implement the advisory committees such as yourselves. And their recommendations. And they conduct public meetings, so residents can voice their concerns. At the last planning board meeting, when I was president for them, a neighbor came forward and said, hey, I already have stormwater problems on my property. This may make it worse. Can we talk about this? And it was a very nice discussion between the applicant, their hopeful soon to be neighbor, and the planning board of, hey, how can we work through some of this stuff? And that's where that is implemented. Zoning work, they review all variance requests and evaluate whether they can negatively impact all natural resources. They can ensure decisions support the long-term environmental goals of the comp plan. And they can also look at to make sure that if they are going to be granting a variance, they can impose conditions. Again, I hate to keep nagging on the lot coverage, but if you would like lot coverage, then they can request more mitigation efforts to be imposed. They also collaborate with the advisory boards and technical partners. This is one where, again, we're trying to get more involved in. You as the UCB will be now seeing every environmental variance possible. We're also going to be sending them off to MRB to get their opinions. We already sent them off to the Watershed Council, myself, and the codes department. That way we can get as many eyes on the project as possible before it gets. All right. And they ensure public hearings are held. UCB, this is the great one. All right. Truthfully, I'm not. I love the UCB. The work you guys do is amazing. When I say that you guys are such a huge part in our MS4 program and our floodplain program, just because you get the word out there as far as our environmental resources, you also have that expertise when you're looking at a project. I have to look at uniform code, water supplies, sanitary sewer, setbacks, all that. Whereas you guys can just look at the environmental aspect, and I absolutely love that. Okay. It kind of takes some things off of my plate. But biggest things are conducting environmental impact assessments on the proposed projects, recommending mitigation strategies, and utilizing the codes that we have. You know, again, instead of just saying, hey, I recommend denial for this as the ECB, say I recommend denial because of these codes, and we don't believe that these are met. Or, hey, they're asking for a water course setback. Okay, well, here are the reasons why. Here's why these are important to have these setbacks. And if they want to have those, then here are some mitigation efforts that can be put into place. You can say that it's a no-mow zone and a conservation easement off of that. You know, you can ask for those things to be in place. You also align all your recommendations with the town's long-term goals, keeping in mind the comp plan, NRI, swamp, and our site design criteria. What else? So some of the things that we're looking at is some larger stormwater management facilities. As previously discussed, New York State requires to meet pre-development discharge rates. But what if we could be better? what if we could drop those and say you need to have 75% of your pre-development discharge rates? That way we are basically improving by 25%. Um, there's also some talks trying to work with the watershed council about imposing phosphorus, increased phosphorus storage on all of our facilities. We require it in some areas, we don't require it in all. So what that would mean is not only are we worried about the stormwater aspect of a management facility and decreasing a lot of the discharge rates and the volume, but also a lot of the nutrient load that would be discharged. So it's gonna hold that water for longer than a normal system would. Less reliance on variances. This is one that staff is really pushing. I just had 2 meetings today with people who are going through the variance process. Persuading them not to seek out those variances, you know, really saying, hey, have you thought about this? As well as what conditions, those are huge. We're also looking at requiring small scale site mitigation. If you guys are familiar in the residential lake district, we require stormwater mitigation. Maybe we can look at that townwide. We require
love
it
it.
everywhere. We require it if you disturb 20,000 square feet or more for the development. Outside the town, we only require it for a 10-year storm. We do a 25-year storm. There's different things we need to look at. Also, we need to define mitigation practices better. Planning board granted a conditional approval where they said the stormwater mitigation needs to be provided to the satisfaction of the code officer. I scratched my head, I walked to Chuck, I said, Chuck, what mitigation are you talking about? Because there's 16 different categories for stormwater mitigation. He's like, well, you know, mitigation. I was like, no, pollutant, discharge rate, quantity, volume, which one are you looking for? So trying to rewrite our code and our site design criteria to better say if you're doing this, you need to do this. If you haven't read the town of Skinny Atlas's code revision, they just went through a massive one. It is by far the gold standard in my office, and I send my guys to it all the time. Depending on what you're doing with your site, you need different stormwater mitigation efforts. So if you are installing a house where your lot coverage is like 75% or more principal structure, they're looking for more of the infiltration and that quantity and discharge rate. If you're doing lot coverage where it's 75% or less, they're looking at your driveways, your sidewalks, your landscaping. They're requiring your treatment so you don't have pollution discharge. So it's a lot of that. You're doing this, which is going to increase that. Let's work on that. More stringent codes. Should lot coverage maximums be townwide? Every zoning district has a lot coverage maximum. That way, again, we can go through and reduce a lot of that water and promote more infiltration. Larger setbacks. One thing that's been talked about is the 25 feet from the lake, the mean high water. Should we start pushing that back a little bit more? Not so much for a floodplain, but again, that infiltration area. It's gonna be tough because we're 99% developed along the lake shore. But those accessory structures that come to my office all the time, and they want to put a shed or they want to extend off their house, items like that. The other thing is our shape setbacks. We're at 100 feet right now for anything from a water body. Do we look at and saying, hey, maybe 100 feet for 150 feet for your principal structure, 100 feet just for your accessory structures? Again, give them that little buffer room. Because what do you get when you put a house 100 feet from a stream? You get a lawn, and they're starting mowing that. Whereas you want to maintain that riparian corridor with free vegetation, a no-mow zone. So again, promoting that larger setback would allow for that. Or we say, hey, 100 feet needs to be a conservation easement if you're building on that property. There's different avenues we can go down. More funding. The Watershed Council in my office, we're gonna do a rewrite of our chapter 170. We're gonna model it, our stormwater law. We're gonna model it after the town of Webster. You guys familiar with our parks and rec fee at all for the town of Canandaigua? Okay. So similarly, you know, if you can't provide a park for a subdivision, then it's a $1,500 fee per new well. So that the town can provide better parks and rec facilities. what the town of Webster does is say you're required to provide mitigation on your small scale project. Think of the RLD, and you're not able to. Not that you don't want to, but that you have site constraints. Sandy Beach, for example. You can't do a dry well on Sandy Beach. You got about 2 feet of soil and then you're hitting the water table. Infiltration trenches are tough when you don't have setbacks between the property lines. For those instances, town of Webster requires payment into what's called their stormwater mitigation fund, which then funds the activities of a regional stormwater facility. So whether it be new stormwater facilities, expanded stormwater facilities that deal with the project as a regional impact.
That would be nice. I mean, we just looked at one last month and they're like almost right on the lake, the
Yeah.
structure. They really have like
Oh, yeah.
no place to put anything.
Yep, and it's one of those where we're very fortunate, we get a lot of grant funding for these projects, but. Kevin Mulvaney's in my office about once a week saying, hey, I got a new project I wanna do. I keep telling him, hey, finish the one from a year ago, we'll talk about that, but we've got a list that's ever growing. And we also need to update our plans and policies to keep up with climate change. It's not a secret. We're getting these more frequent, higher intensity storm events. A lot of our plans don't have that built into it. A lot of our code doesn't have that built into it. For example, New York State and EPA, DEC and EPA, we go off of what's called Atlas 12. Atlas 12 is the data from NOAA that gets us our average rain totals and our 100-year storms and everything of that sort. Atlas 12 is not from 2012. It's from like 1970s and 80s. Atlas 14 was supposed to be coming out next year. That was cut federally. So when we're looking at the pre-development discharge rates, we're using data from the 70s. We're not looking at the new storms. So that's why like we're pushing for these more stringent stormwater facilities because we're not catching up. We're going backwards.
What would you guys prefer to or be able to look at instead of that? Is there something in place of that or dates like this or
Yeah, so that's why we're trying to get our own local data with our data collection.
like the rain gauges, stuff like that?
Yeah, with our rain gauges. It's gonna be tough. We're trying to see what we can do because regulatory wise, when you're doing a SWIP, DEC just says go to Atlas. So we're trying to see. What is gonna be easier for us is to say that you need to meet not the pre-development discharge rates, you need to be 50% better than the pre-development discharge rates. That way, at least we don't have the data, right, to back up the last 10 years. We'll have that eventually, but this way we're making the situation better.
Are we able to like join with other communities to like have the DC change what they're using or defaulting you to?
Unfortunately not.
Okay.
It's the reason why they're not going to the Atlas 14 is just NOAA's budget was cut. I mean, there's
Yeah.
DEC,
They don't have the capacity.
they don't have the capacity for it in the data. So it's tough. I mean, even all the rain gauges are all USGS that are utilized. So it's all federal for those rain gauges. DEC doesn't actually maintain any. So that's whose data is it? How can we use it? That's where that discussion was.
I use a lot of the underground weather stations to gather rain information, because I'll say, I got 2 inches at my house. How can that be? And I'll look at around the area to confirm it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Or I got 2 inches this summer when I was gone away and I'm like, came home, my rain gauge, I'm like, no way. And I went up, checked up on your hill, well, he lives just over the hill from me. And I checked around, nobody got that rain. I'm like, how can that be
Yeah.
that I got 2 inches in a little,
Oh, yeah.
it was very bizarre.
Yeah. And that's what we're seeing more is, for instance, we had 2 decent floods. I won't say major. Major to me is 23. But we had 2 floods where we were dealing with flooded out structures, and at least more than 5 is kind of what we determined to be a flood. We had one on say Monday, the next one was on a Wednesday. Completely different areas. And when we started looking at the storm tracks, it was like a one straight corridor that was like 4 miles wide. It was the weirdest storm track ever. So that's why the data collection we're going towards is more, we're gonna do 6-month basis at different locations, because we're only doing 4 stations, so we're not gonna get a true comprehensive data set at one time.
So could you have basically weather watchers and then do some citizen collection of data?
We we've tried that, it didn't work out so well. Um,
People are more into that now because there's a lot
Yeah.
more citizens
If
signing
you look
up
at the
there.
Weather Underground, they got a really good
Yeah.
system that's pretty.
yeah, what we were finding was,
How does that work with the law and using that for?
so it'd be more of like
It'd be more
a,
of a
you could
backup.
submit it.
Okay.
Yeah, but what we were finding was we had some rain gauges where someone was like, "Hey, we had 6 inches." I was like, "No, we didn't." Like, when'd you empty that out last? 2 days ago. I was like, "Okay, well, that's why."
It was full of bird poop and it.
Exactly. So there was a lot of that. So because that's how we got a lot of the data that Kevin was using. Because right now we have just the airport. The airport's the only rain gauge that we have in town that's a true digital gauge. And even that one's way off sometimes. And we'll find that Kevin will put a gauge out at Outhouse Park. The rain gauge at the airport, because of how narrow these storm systems are,
Yeah.
will be half an inch less than what he'll get at Outhouse.
That's what's so bizarre.
I live around the corner from here and it will rain here, not at my house.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. I mean, I'm in a drought where I'm at.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm getting a little nervous about it because my well, I'm
Yeah.
on a well.
There'll be a microburst tomorrow,
They put that. Neither.
No, wait, hold on, I'm going on vacation. Let it happen, right?
I'm going, what, camping next week. Rain.
Little bit of a summary and conclusion. Again, just remember, we've got our regulatory aspects, we also have our policies and plans. Those policy plans are set forth by the town board for boards, organizations such as yourself and staff to utilize. Those are our guides. Zoning and land use regulations are, in my opinion, some of the best codes that we have because they're black and white. There's no interpretation. You meet it or you don't. And they're also very easy to monitor. So if someone does an illegal addition, we know that. This is also a team mission. So one of the items that I'm proposing is the town board again is looking to rewrite the comp plan. I've talked to Jared. Thankfully, he's on board. I just gotta get all of the chairs of the boards on board, no pun intended. Is when we're going through the comp plan to really see what areas and goals we've achieved. I like peer reviews. My guys know in my office, if we're doing a commercial project, we do a 3-person peer review. 3 people are checking out those plans. So instead of the planning board, the ECB and the zoning board saying, yeah, we're meeting our goals, we're doing great. I want ECB to check out zoning board check out planning board check out ECB.
I will say some of those goals are really tough to get
Mhm.
sort of measurable.
Yeah, oh yeah. But-
You know, to say if you're failing
Yep,
or
and
meeting it.
it's nothing against any particular board.
No,
It's the ones where it's like, okay, those tough ones, hey, take a look at what they've done. Because what that'll do too is open up their eyes. If the zoning board has to review what you guys have done, or the planning board has to review, they're gonna get some more insight. And they're saying, wow, okay, yeah, we can really look into what they're doing, we can ask them to do some more stuff. It opens up their eyes to the true scope and purpose of each board. And I'm a huge team player, I grew up playing football, played football throughout college. I always joke with our contractors, you got your linemen, you got your running backs, you got your quarterback. Same with silt fence and stormwater controls. When you really look at it, staff, we're the linemen, we try to stop it, sometimes we can't. But then we got our advisory boards, you're the ones that are running your routes as the wide receivers saying, hey, come to me, let's do this. And the planning board is ultimately the quarterback saying, yeah, no, you can't, pass go. The zoning board, it's the running back, that's the option, right? I hate to use the football analogy, but it works out for everything, I swear. So future planning, I really want you guys' input, what future training, by no means does it have to be staff taught, alright? We have the technical advisors, we have the groups, we've got our partners that we can bring in. If you guys wanted to do training dates with all the boards, and it'd be a 4-hour time block to say, hey, let's focus on this one subject that we noticed.
We were talking about that with the planning board,
Yep.
having a training day in the spring.
So, I mean, throw your ideas at me. If there is a section of code, and I welcome you guys, please reach out. If there's a section of code that you've never seen that you want to discuss, reach out. Say, hey, how can we use this? And if it's project specific, that's totally fine. We'll have those conversations. And the biggest one. Again, work as a team. Go through the planning board with the zoning board, have that line of communication. When you're issuing your recommendations. Add some, what I like to call them to them, you know, some weight. Throw some code citations on it. Call my office, call my guys and say, hey, Mike, we really don't like this, what can we use to change this? And I'm gonna give you 16 different codes every single time. As reference, so that way, again, it's not an opinion, we're following the laws, following the codes. Alright,
Got one more question before I
Go right ahead.
So are we still the climate resilient community or part of it, or what is our status with that, and how does that
so we were,
apply?
last time I checked, we were not, and I'm still waiting on an explanation of why we are not.
We have a certificate, we signed up for the climate smart community, but
Yes.
we didn't take it to the next level of bronze. So
No, we
we're
got-
actually talking about that one.
So we got bronze, we
We
lost, I got us bronze.
Oh,
Pat on my back, alright?
Okay.
So I got us bronze because there was a energy code training that New York State required to get bronze, and it also gave us our points to get over that limit.
Okay.
But the last time I checked, we lost it. So I've reached out, it could just be a program issue, but I know we got bronze.
It seems like something that would help us to get these grants, whatever, or extra resources if we have them
Yeah.
for dealing with some of this stuff.
Yeah. To be brutally honest, the problem with grants is we utilize them a lot. And we utilize them for such specific things. So recently we got a grant for culvert study and replacement. We got a grant for MS4 mapping with a new MS4 permit. And we just got money from New York State DOS on stormwater. I can't say the specific number because it's not totally official yet, but it's a very large number. Starts with an M. As far as the amount. So the problem is like we go through a lot of these grants and really honest with you, the stormwater, the watershed council does a lot of them, so they're very focused on that stormwater, not so much the planning. I know that with the new position of the planning director, that's gonna be one thing that's gonna be heavily put on them. Is the grant side of things to get a lot of these taken care of. It's just, they offer so few of them. And when they are these broad grants, we go on these very specific projects to ensure we get the funding. And once you get funding for one grant, you're done. So for instance, the MS4 mapping one was underneath the climate resiliency. So that funding, we're out because we've already used it. So that's that tricky part. But again, another goal for that new position is to coordinate a lot of that stuff and to say, well, let's not do that, you know. It's great, we got a $90,000 grant. Let's shoot for more, let's try to do something else.
I know New York offers a number of different environmental, not necessarily water, but more like, you've got so much land, a lot of them are based more towards landowners.
Yep.
So there is money out there.
Yeah, and
You guys will set up a priority list more or less, or that new position.
yes, yeah, and the number one. So I was working on that. I got my feet taken up from me because FEMA cut a lot of their funding. And I always start with the federal level because their grants come out first. So I had the applications for what's called BRIC, or Building Resiliency Inside Communities. Which is very broad. And about a week after I submitted was when they killed that program. They've killed a lot of them. DEC thankfully is still offering a lot, but a lot of their funding again came from the federal side. So it's been tough. But we're working towards it. The other big one was the Parks and Rec. Trying to remember what the actual name of it was, but it's the main grant going around New York State right now. CFA, thank you.
That's the big one.
That's the big one.
That's when you give out like extra big money.
Yeah, so we've hit up CFA once. The last time was for Parks and Rec with Onapa. So that was the last CFA round last year. This year, we're utilizing CFA for uptown lighting. In the electrification.
Need that, that's big one.
That thing is everywhere.
You gotta remember, I'm on the clock, so I can't. But yes, that's what we're utilizing CFA for this year. So,
It just seems like it's even more important now if the town gets crafty or does stuff on their own, since the money's not gonna be there.
and that's why we're trying to implement a lot of the more development based, it's great that we have the municipal resources and council to do a lot of these projects, but we have these developments to do these projects for us. One that we're working on, we've had conversations that you guys will be seeing soon, we're asking, hey, let's do a secondary stormwater management facility to really bring down those discharge rates. We just had a talk yesterday with the applicant of, is it a partnership where the town does the work on that property? During your development, so that we're not cutting in anything, we're not disturbing anything, it's not gonna be already disturbed. And we'll take over the management of it. It reduces the cost, cause then we're not having to do easements and anything else, it's all built into that development. So, but that's a lot of that forward thinking that needs to take place. So. Anything else?
I think one of the things that would help us team wise is we're always the first person to like review this thing. A lot of the times what we see is not what the planning board reviews. It's changed or the people aren't submitting all of this stuff, so I think there's a lot of landscape plans that are being submitted after we meet.
Yeah.
So, if there's any way that it can be a little bit more teeth and like get that submitted on deadline day rather than changing it, like,
I'm trying.
yeah. Well, I know I'm probably speaking to the choir.
No,
but
yeah,
it's hard because the entire Ontario County Planning Board, they also see what we see.
Yeah.
Cause I send off the files when I do all the referrals. And people are putting in site plans that they planning board and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There really needs to be pushback on that
and
behavior.
I see it too, as you know, Kim, by the way, gets all of the referral comments that I send in, so. She sees the links that my team goes towards. But we'll submit comments. And sometimes we get a response, sometimes the plans completely change. I get plans that I need to sign myself to say they met all my conditions. I never even reviewed this, like, this is a completely different plan from what I reviewed initially. So I totally understand, we're trying some different things.
I just thought, I mean, I sit at the planning board and I really know that a lot of things changed from when
Yeah,
we're sitting here and we do our diligence.
I think Carrie and I were talking about that, like that one down on West Lake Road there, we looked at it and there was a lot of variances and we just said, no, no, no. And then I go by there again and the house is gone and things are progressing, I'm like, we never got any feedback on that, why it proceeded.
yeah, and that's one where trying to open up that communication aspect of, not only if you issue, and I'm personally asking this of like, when, let's look at the variances, right? If I recommend a denial, you guys as a board recommend a denial, the zoning board should address that, even though it's not required, just saying, hey, we acknowledge there was a denial, we're approving this based off of these facts finding. And it could be, they say, the applicant is now providing mitigation for this lot coverage. But that at least gives you an answer. And allows that to come down.
I suppose you could read their minutes.
You could, but they don't address
So
them
that's not
directly.
not always clear if.
Yeah.
Those steps have been taken.
The zoning board ones are very brief.
Yeah. But there's a lot of different things that we're looking towards. I know, for example, you guys will see form-based code. Talk about that. Form-based code is gonna be the first area where we don't require site plan approval by the planning board for some projects. That's a directive that's been issued by the town board. They no longer wanna see single-family homes go to the planning board. They wanna accelerate those processes. Those projects are when we're gonna really throw it at the ECB and say, okay, look at this from an environmental standpoint, because we want your opinion. We're still gonna go through the referral process with those, it's just not gonna go to a full board level. So. It's gonna get better, I promise you. It's a process, and I know that's a very government answer to give.
No, well, I just have to say, because I know we've gone and reviewed a lot of things and they change, or I know there's ones lately they've been putting in the landscape plan, I think. Strategically after our meetings.
Yeah. And that's where too, like, I think if a little bit more specific recommendations would come in handy. And I know like with the landscape, it's great, like actually naming out the species is amazing because I can actually look at the site and say, yeah, they met that. They did that. Same with, if you wanted to say, hey, let's do this idea, we don't want this because of these, it allows us to really review it to make sure they've met it. Whereas just a broad recommendation, it's tough for us to really say, yeah, they've gone through and mitigated this issue.
That's like one of the things like pushing forward is like the percentages for the invasive, or like having that and then being
Yeah.
able to reference the actual things there.
Yeah.
So it's easier for you guys.
Yep. Yeah.
make
and
decisions.
One of the things we're looking at too is changing our landscaping requirements, right? So like form-based code, for example. I'm trying to get the red line out before I leave. I don't know if it's gonna happen. But we removed all of the required plantings and we're just going strictly to, you're not allowed to do invasive species. And you need to utilize the DEC list for native species. Those are our required lists. Keep it simple, give it really to the architect, landscape architect's desire, but still put it in there. No, you can't do this.
What is invasive? We had that.
Yeah.
Like natives that are invasive to
Yeah.
and it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Like redwood.
And I know you guys have talked about utilizing the town of Victor lists. I think that's a great stepping stone. I think that would be a good recommendation for form-based code. Say, hey, let's utilize this. You're gonna pay Paul. I steal code from different towns all the
Sounds
time.
like Skinny Atlas is a place to look to.
Skinny Atlas, I actually have another one I sent to you. That a landscaping book. It was out Fire Island.
Oh,
Fire Island had like a tremendous landscaping book that was probably 50 pages that was like not only here are the plant specifications as far as species, but size requirements, planting.
They've got the people with the power to.
Oh, yeah. It was phenomenal. It even said if you're developing this time of the year, you can't plant this, you need to wait till this. I'm like, okay. I'm the type of guy that when you see those subdivisions come through, I have to have MRB come out because I can't tell you the difference between a tree. All right, I know a pine tree and a leaf tree. That's all I know. All right. It gets even worse when dealing with shrubs. Okay, it's green or it's not. That's all I know. So yeah.
Well, the tree committee did make a list of trees and shrubs that are native and acceptable. And those have been available for quite some time. Your own town tree committee, tree team, I guess it is.
And it's something we can utilize too. Again, take a look at it. There's some
Mhm.
other things in form-based code, lot coverage and stuff like that. Please take a look at it. Provide us your input. If you want to say you need stormwater mitigation in form-based code, I'm not giving you a little hint, but I would really appreciate it. Just something, right? That's kind of going to be our springboard for a lot of this stuff. All right. So again, all my contact info is on the website. The phone is usually on 24/7, just not this weekend. It will be sitting in a drawer at home. So
if you send a message at 3 o'clock in the morning, it bings in.
it does, yes, that's the one. So yeah,
So don't do that.
the 911 center has 10 different numbers they utilize, so I can't try do not disturb. So the ringer is always on at full volume, and thankfully my wife works midnights at the 911 center, so I don't bother her. So. But if there are any other questions, again, feel free to reach out, send me
This is
emails.
great, thank you.
Enjoy, thanks for your time, Wayne.
Of course. Have fun. I'm sorry. Goal was an hour. It's better than the planning board. I said it was a half hour. I was way over. It was 2 hours. Bad. But they were a talkative group, so there's a lot of specific questions on the planning board. I didn't want it.
That's That's the nature of the planning.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're revisiting Sandy Beach.
Yeah,
Number one.
Can we get our approval of the minutes? So,
Yeah.
all this other stuff up. You made the motion?
Yes.
I just need a second.
Second.
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So this is, he's looking to put a second story addition over an existing deck. I have landscaping comments, but if anybody else has anything,
This is the deck that we reviewed that. Or.
we reviewed variances and they
we had a
not,
setback, it was for a setback, and then they decided to go with
yeah.
not asking for that any longer and asking for a building upon the existing deck, right?
No, yeah, no change.
Yeah, no
That's
change,
right.
it's just gonna, they just want,
And they're not gonna have any deck at all then,
apparently not.
until the next, next application.
Kind of is the way it goes.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the way the letter was written too. It's like, well, you know, they'll just play this game where, well, we'll do this, and if we get away with that, then we'll do this, if we get away with that. And it just keeps
Yeah.
cascading.
I like knowing we can use the codes now
Yeah,
in our advisory position.
there you go.
So this is what they're planning right here is to add that as structure.
Mhm.
They also have the landscaping.
I think the only thing they were adding was the this black thumb tree.
I think they have some bushes too, but
Maybe around the front, yeah.
but-
But,
their plan includes their neighbor's stuff.
right,
Well, they're just showing it, that it's there. I don't know, I didn't see it, so,
Neighbors will.
This, so this is the neighbor's willow tree.
yes,
If I'm interpreting
Yeah.
it correctly, this is the neighbor's tree.
Oh,
yeah.
And this is the neighbor's shrub, so it looks like all they're putting in is
yeah.
this and
And
then the
that
tree.
Yeah,
And,
I think they just wanted to show it relative to
And-
what's there.
And that's fine, but what I was suggesting was that they click off all of those ones. Oh, it's in there too. Was to show like the existing trees and shrubs on this, just so it's clear where they actually are.
in case there was any.
Not a lot of space for.
No, I mean noted on this plan. That,
Oh, like where that, oh,
so,
you mean where the neighbor's trees are?
cause they included it on their landscaping plan.
Well, they say they wanna plant a tree, a black gum, right?
Yeah,
They wanna put that in and they wanna put in shrubs.
right there.
Around the new builds.
I just say that the plan here was, their landscape plan was kind of. I don't know, didn't quite match up with the existing conditions here, cause. The tree probably should be noted, that's over here someplace. And then there's a tree here, and there's shrubs here. What?
I don't think they have to on the as-built, right? It's just the parcel.
Cause then it would make it clear just where these things are. Cause I'm kind of
So
concerned,
when you're doing an as-built, you do what's within that property lines. This is like asking for additional stuff.
So-
Just trying to show like the overview of what it will be with the neighbors then.
I don't know the reason for showing the other trees that are not within our property lines. I don't,
or maybe they should
take it off,
take it off.
And just have the.
just put what they're gonna
Right,
plant.
no, right, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would, that's also.
You're saying it feels like it's a little misleading.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that, yeah.
Yeah,
So just,
Yes, it's misleading.
you're
Yes.
just gonna do on their land.
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
that would be,
Yeah, it
that
makes it
Just
look
their own property, yeah.
Well, because he's got the planting of the tree and how the, and the planting of the shrubberies and the list out of the shrubberies. Yeah,
which is all fine,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
just having those other ones there, it's like, well, this isn't really part of your plan. This is somebody else's
their
stuff.
neighborhoods, yeah,
they're close enough, they're probably thinking.
get that,
You
know,
know,
that affects their overall landscape, but it's not.
Yeah.
Can we say to cut that one down and put some other
Sense.
ones in on the neighbor's property, if you don't like that tree?
yeah, they cut like half.
Well, that, yeah, that,
just show.
that may be
the-
why too, because there was a neighbor issue, right? Like,
So we're gonna suggest just to take the two larger, to take what's on the neighbors off.
For their landscaping.
Or put a note that that's for graphic purposes or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to show it for like overall, like.
Make
how
some
they're-
sort
how
of
they're-
note or
Yeah.
take them off.
Yeah, just so nobody's thinking that.
Misunderstand
Yeah.
something.
yeah, because then by adding, if they think they own it, that's a problem, right?
Yeah,
True, right.
I had suggested adding a note to the site plan that,
I have your notes.
yeah, that,
Not trimming for you, yeah, that's a good note.
yeah.
Is the boathouse, was that there before, the hoist? How does that count towards screening or what applies to that, anything or? Is it an accessory structure? I don't know how that works.
I'm
It says-
not-
I think it's just for what's out there, and
Yeah.
then it's just for,
Cause that's all controlled by, is that the Corps? When they build out there?
Is it the uniform mooring and docking still out there, for that? Which I know nothing about other than the name.
yeah.
So, but I believe that covers.
I was just wondering if that, like, I know we have. The blending in the neighborhood. Whether or not it, makes it stand out or it's compliant with the shoreline, I don't know how that falls or if it's.
Can we look at the encore just for the shit? Just to see the dock,
Yep.
see if it's on there.
So I just thought it was a fair note to add because there was some issues and so hopefully, property owner and anybody who might own property, I'm sure will be a little bit more aware.
So you have it as, it is important that the existing vegetation is noted on the site plan.
Yeah,
So there, so
we
then
can-
there's no confusion as to what the vegetation. Yeah, that makes sense.
A lot of people do put existing trees on their site plans.
It is good that they have a low for in your notes, how you say, for the root zone and stuff.
Yeah,
And the drip line, so that they know when they're actually doing construction, if it's approved, like where they are.
I mean, they are pretty good indicators.
Yeah, I mean, so if you have like in cramped areas like this. Where you would have trees like that overlapping the property. And we're just focused on that sole property line and parcel. Like they could just dig and hack at it, right, without care, because technically they don't have to. So is it good to show those on, like these unique properties like that then?
I think it's better to show them on the site plan. I mean, it's just like block the, we had like their little tree. Thing. I mean, they're gonna have to measure where it is.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
neighbor.
One of the things about showing them on the site plans is for soil erosion control, because if you are putting soil or scraping around anywhere under the drip line of the tree,
Yeah.
you are killing the tree if you get too
Yeah.
close to the trunk. There's, if it's showing that, then their excavation should certainly avoid the drip line of that tree. And and no construction should touch it.
Especially
The
in
roots,
more
the roots go out a long way. They
yeah,
head out
yes.
to the drip line, so that would need protection for the neighbor, for one thing. But it certainly ought to be clear whether it's on the property or not. you know, but their construction ought to avoid that.
So if the landscaping plan, if I interpret it correctly, it looks like the tree is actually on the neighbor's property here,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I think
but they would still need to protect the drip line of it. There's, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this would be.
That would be the only reason for having it on the plan.
Yeah. Okay,
Good point.
do that,
Or beef up the notes on regarding the neighboring trees.
Yeah,
yep.
Do something like that.
However they wanna do it, but
They're there,
Mhm,
they're not, they're the neighbors, but at least they're there.
mhm.
when was that house built?
um.
You can go through the years and the images.
Cause I mean, the chances are if that tree was there, they've already been into the root zone.
Well, those look like they've been there a while, they're big, right?
I think this usually says a date,
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah, so they were probably into the root
You can
zone.
go back on, you can go back on the imagery and see what happened.
Oh, yeah.
You can do that, like you can go to this year and you can see.
You can see when they added all
Yeah.
that stuff out in the lake.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
Isn't that cool? Eye in sky,
Oh, yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
Some other
you can see all kind of things,
vegetation there.
it's helpful,
Yeah.
Absolutely, in a sandy beach.
yeah.
Definitely.
those trees got hacked out.
Yeah, some of them did.
And not a very happy neighbor.
No,
So and then, so this will be now a structure, 2-story structure, so this will have. Like Mike was saying earlier.
it's on the footprint.
They're gonna have to build up like
I don't know.
to meet their,
They're
or
just
2
they're
feet
gonna-
above or whatever that the town will want.
I
I don't
think,
know.
I think that goes by the cost of the project. And how much that's in relationship to the home and stuff like that.
Okay.
For those rules to kick in to like
Yeah.
pre-existing structures like this.
Okay.
I took some training earlier in the year on that.
So
Stormwater
that
stuff.
doesn't have that, so it could have issues
Yeah.
more so.
So, any other suggestions for this one?
Not really.
Same as before.
Cool. Next one, trying to
Yeah.
move us along.
Yeah.
Another sandy beach.
Oh, this is that little shed.
This is the shed.
So when it says it's non-compliant, does that mean that they put the shed there
It means it's already breaking the rules.
by the shed, that a little shed being there?
Non-compliant, compliant?
No, they wanna take one out that's there.
Right.
With a little bit bigger one.
So why wasn't
It's
it
already enough.
non-compliant, the original one?
Oh, so
Where it's located.
one of the places you can look when you have questions like that is in the zoning law determination. Cause this is put together by the zoning officers. And they'll go down through, they have, between the two of them, they have a little different style on some of the information.
Yeah, I think this one specified the original
But
non-conformity.
but currently they're at 70% lot coverage.
Okay.
So they're already there.
They're already well beyond.
Yeah,
And then they're asking for a little bit
a
more.
little bit more.
Just a little bit.
And
This much.
Slowly get to that 100%.
So that was, it was a lot coverage variance, it was set.
and then they've got setbacks.
Somewhat setback as well.
So they're asking from a 0-foot setback from the lake
It's right on the property line.
and a 3-foot setback from
Pretty
the
close to it.
side.
But it's only like this, it's called a site plan, but it's only a photograph. It's not like it's like. Some people come in with their own stuff, I mean, they don't go.
I believe they're getting they signed a waiver.
Yeah, maybe, so.
So the lot coverage variance, I mean, it's roughly the same
Can we look at the picture?
So if they were to put up the same exact
Send
shed,
a
they need
picture,
the
but-
variance.
But
Their
but
property
they're
looks like.
asking for like a 30% variance.
But they already have that, right?
But it's already there.
That's already there. And so my question is,
They're taking it down though, and so they have to go for.
so they have to
that.
ask for a deal.
So we had this issue before on the other side of the lake.
So when you're
It was 4 by-
disturbing
4
a
by 6.
grandfather, or you're making it like less non-conformity or more of a you're making a lesser non-conformity. This is supposed to be better,
Yeah,
but it's
but
still,
this is going the other way.
but it's not like starting
yeah,
at
it's not the
square
same.
one now.
They have a big paver patio, I mean, if they wanted to decrease the lot coverage,
We could do
something
about
could be
that.
done.
You take-
Done with that.
Cause it was sitting on the patio, I think, wasn't
So
it?
they sent us a sketch of the shed, they sent like a photograph. That's under site plan in this
Oh, you
packet.
wanted that, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
the
went to
picture that's in the
one
packet. That says site plan, it's just like a
What's this zero?
photograph. They wanna build it right on the line.
They want
There.
it on the lake.
Maybe they can put it on the dock.
0 feet.
Pontoons.
On the goods.
Say-
Site plan,
you say
so
no, yeah.
it's,
That's the site plan.
it's like a photo. Well, no,
Yeah,
that's
is the
not,
current
that's,
shed, is the current shed there? Is the
no,
current
that's not,
Yeah.
it's really not a
shed-
site
It's
plan.
there, it's,
Existing conditions,
they want,
there we
they
go.
basically want, they want a new shed.
Just a photo, this is a photo.
Yeah, they want a bigger,
Slight, yeah, slight,
slightly big. Oh, it's a bit big.
yeah.
Oh, I hate when I get that, cause I never know what to do with it.
Just pick something and hopefully it opens.
There. Yeah, that is a big platform. Out into the lake.
That's- I don't usually use this one.
It seemed like this is one of those things you should have left well enough alone.
So where do they wanna put the shed now? Oh, right there,
Right where it is, they want,
right
they
there,
want a bigger one where it is.
yeah.
I mean, I understand why they would want one, but.
But they already have shed.
Right, but they probably have more life preservers and they probably wanna put their,
They had a lot of stuff
yeah.
on that patio.
So, yeah, maybe they need to store more things in it.
Oh, did you go down?
I'm sure that's
Yeah.
probably what they said.
Do you think we could see that with, maybe the encore picture would be clearer? Cause you were going there, right, there it is, you're right there. No, not really,
It's the same one they used that and
yeah,
drew on that.
so what's the,
Get rid of the bigger area
Curious.
up front.
Yeah.
oh, that's so much clearer, that was that one year,
Go back,
yeah.
maybe.
I mean, are these still getting approved? Do we know that or do we not know that?
Wow. They're like all pavement. They've got basically like a little
Yeah.
spot of lawn there.
So
They could cut their lawn with a weed whacker.
So,
I think
that's all
Down
patio,
between the houses, is
you
pretty,
guys want to
So,
look at
yeah.
that, so it's all patio pavers?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, if they, right,
So maybe a suggestion could be made for that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
So basically, yeah, if you want the shed, you gotta take some.
Remove
papers
some
out,
of those pavers maybe.
So you don't exceed your
I
already.
think first
accessible
four
lot
says
coverage.
like we don't approve of it.
I would say denial first.
Well,
And then if it must go through, I mean, that's why I ask, cause like,
If they
how are
wanted
these
to
being?
lie.
Planning board, are they being approved or
Well,
zoning?
this would, I don't believe this is going to the planning board.
this would just be like a building permit
This is-
issue, would it not?
Correct.
But they want our input?
It's a variance.
What's a variance of
They're
where they want
asking
to
for
put it,
3.
where they wanna
Yeah,
put it in
that's
because
fair.
it's bigger,
right,
cause it's going to zoning.
that the zero variant, cause they're on the lake, right
Yeah.
on the lake, and they're right on the property line.
Yep,
What was the other variance? Oh, the cut lot coverage.
lot coverage.
yeah.
And wonder how the neighbor feels about it on the property line.
That was my question about that
Well, it's
too.
already there though, and that's
think-
not there
I
yet.
don't think there was any neighbor issue.
There's no,
The neighbor signed off on it.
Well, I don't know, that was, I was
It has to,
curious.
right?
What's
No,
that?
no.
The neighbor has to sign off on.
It doesn't have to, they don't have to sign off on it, but
I was curious why
You send
neighbors
out-
didn't
notices.
say something about it, if they but maybe they just don't care.
They won't see it with their structure.
I think maybe they see it as a block from the
Yeah.
neighbor, you know, like a.
And I mean, those are such tiny.
Could we
packed
see the
lots.
neighbor? Could we like move it up?
Yeah.
to the- We could see
I'm
what's
like,
going on next.
that-
Okay, so the neighbor looks like they have
Just
like,
just be on the lake.
They're pretty.
like a brush.
I mean, yeah,
tree or
it probably
something.
doesn't matter because they're so damn tight.
Yeah.
What is that, a
Maybe.
swim platform, you guys? Was it a permanent
Figure out what
platform?
it is. Yeah.
Metal or something, permanent metal platform?
Flabbiness.
So we should deny this one.
I don't think we can ever like
There's a lot of stuff out there.
approve. You know, increasing coverage, especially when they're already at 70%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're already over, yeah.
This doesn't even have the lot across the street.
Or not to
So-
place it right there at the lake.
Mhm.
Place it.
Yeah, and just a statement that was noted by the ECB that large portion of the lakeside. Was covered with hardscape was, you know.
Yes, oh,
Could be. Perhaps an avenue to reduce the lot coverage or something to that
Yeah.
effect.
I think, I think that's fair. Cause
Hmm.
that's still, you're still saying denial of that.
And it's
Do it.
presented,
As-
Yeah.
however,
Yeah.
perhaps you can do
mhm.
this.
Remove some of the existing.
Yeah, and the other thing too was like, I don't know, without going to all the houses, like the large paved area for parking is kind of. Not the normal for that area.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some of them have
Not a
across the
pavement.
street parking.
Oh,
They don't
you're
have-
saying this big
Yeah.
paved spot here?
Yeah.
Plus a boat, there's a lot of walkway in there, there's a lot of coverage on that lot, yeah.
So you're saying it's not really in keeping already with the.
With some of them, but a lot of the other ones
Is it
have
hard
the across the
sheds?
street parking, so.
Okay. And it's not.
Again, it's that whole
grass.
weird.
No, it's right on the
Cars.
pavers, or it seems like it's on the pavers, I think it's on the pavers, wasn't it? Yeah.
So if the,
So
if
they
they're
just,
building,
shed just sits on top of pavers.
so if they're building a shed on top of
I
pavers.
mean, it doesn't
Are they
have,
increasing lot coverage if it's already paved? Are they,
Oh, good point. Yeah,
right?
yeah, I think
they're increasing the coverage, well, that's true, that's right.
When were the
It
pavers?
was, it was,
Documented.
it was.
If there's already.
You thought it was on, I think it was on the
I
pavers.
asked about this recently and they said that, what was I? saying?
It's not really coverage, but it
You're
is
really gonna get it
setback.
there.
It's double
Sure.
coverage.
Because
You're
they're
gonna-
changing things and asking for
Trying to
like
bring it in on
new stuff,
fire.
that they had to get approval
Right.
of
Build it on site.
what they've got.
No, I think it was the company had the drawing.
Actually,
The
they
drawing
are-
was done by the
If they're
company that.
increasing it.
But
they're
you
gonna
might be right,
solve
they
it.
might come as
If
a
they're
catch.
fitting it on
It might be
top
a
of
catch.
already
It's done with.
coverage.
Yeah.
The other way,
Right,
Unless they're
it's a
going off-
freestanding shed and it's sitting on
That's
top
probably
of
it, probably the
pavers.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on who does
It's
it,
very
some will
increasing.
just bring it
There is
in
an
both the
increase.
walls together, others.
Because
Yeah,
they-
that's-
yeah,
I'm
that's-
thinking, I was
That's why
thinking
they're saying that,
pre-built
but
shed.
But is
but
it really
if
more?
sitting on something already there,
Yeah, they're increasing the footprint, if you zoom in, it doesn't look like there's any grass in it.
Well, one of the issues will be like if it's larger, where's the runoff going? And
it doesn't seem to be that large of a shed, it's, you know. I mean, when you look at the
Portable
plan of the
storage.
shed, it doesn't look that bad, really. You're right, if it sits down on pavers.
It's already on
already,
pavers, why is that,
Not
more lot- why is that more lot coverage?
That's true.
Yeah. Is that,
I will,
So the ECB is questioning that,
yeah,
I
we
can,
need
I
to
can put
know.
that question
but
in.
we don't necessarily like that it's right on the line, the setback. Right, I mean, or we, I don't know. Where does the existing one set? How much off is it
I think
now?
this is the existing one from the looks of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be so nice to see an angle shot of that on it.
Do you know how to do
I
that?
don't.
I don't either.
We should figure, I mean, we should figure out whether they're actually.
They're called
increasing-
obliques, I know
I mean,
that.
they're increasing the shed size, but they're still putting it on existing pavers, not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
At
it
least
was
the
on paper.
coverage
on the
aspect
pavers.
of it, maybe they don't need to ask for,
Yeah.
but they are asking for setback,
From the lake.
Yeah.
From the side,
yeah.
and I was suggesting denial for.
Which it's already there.
I get that, I get that.
But, yeah, we can suggest that they remove some hardscapes, so they're down to their existing.
And the pictures aren't,
If,
the property lines on the pictures aren't spot on either.
Right.
You know, they go on, it looks like you're on the neighbor, but you
Is
see
the
that.
extra 30% because now they incorporate the pavers into it?
Who's doing the ask, client or the,
It's
the
the
shed
property
people?
owner.
Maybe it needs to be asked differently.
When we zoom back, when were the pavers put in?
So this, the property owner is the one
Yeah.
that's asking.
Right.
Those pavers have been there for a while.
2018.
You know what, I can do this, it
Yeah.
takes so long. Or maybe it will,
So it's not like trying to just get the variant approved after the fact that they're gonna have a shed.
Doesn't wanna cooperate now.
no, it doesn't wanna.
Well, it's 7 o'clock, it's probably tired. It's been a long day.
yeah,
Past 7.
Yeah.
alright, so we need to.
So we're kind of wondering, why are we being asked about
I-
coverage, because that doesn't really
I
make
can,
sense.
I can ask about that.
Yeah,
And are the setbacks that they're asking for different from what they currently have?
yeah, well,
No.
So they're
That's
maybe
right.
asking them to put,
That's right against property. line.
yeah, so they wanna put it right where it is.
This is just,
how big is that?
Yeah, so
Are we stuck?
really,
What
if the need is on the
Did
paper.
you give us the dimension of the new shed?
Yeah, the shed can be bigger, but it can be sitting on more pavers, and that's not a change.
Right.
Then you're ensuring that no water gets to.
Okay, so the
those
shed
spaces.
is
Yeah.
only, how wide is it? So it's 8'10" high, and it's, how wide is it, Kim?
Yeah, look, it's showing,
that's what I got.
Oh, 60.
So.
yeah, it's not that big.
6 wide by what though?
I didn't forget that.
Yeah.
Was it in the original?
Us.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
What did it say, 6 foot wide? Oh,
Do we have the
that's,
application? Maybe it's when he filled out the zoning application, maybe he says. The turn the lights off on. Maybe in the,
There.
oh, here we go, it is roughly 5 by 6.5.
There's existing shed, it's roughly,
Okay, not in good condition, so he wants to replace it.
oh, 6 by 10.
They wrote, sounds like they just want it in there. I don't see there.
So that's the size, 6 by 10.
You know, it was what, 4 by 6?
It's
5 by 5.
if it's 49.
No,
if it's-
I'm sorry, 5 by 6.
If it's under 50, do they even have to do that? For the, is that what the town code is? Under 50 square feet?
But they're asking for variances, and that's what, it's not the building permit that's being looked at.
Okay.
Is this would go to the building permit.
So, yeah, so the making it sound they're cognizant that the shed is bigger, so they're saying they're asking for. But if it's on paper.
So maybe it's not necessarily yes. Yeah. Who takes these in?
What's that?
Who takes the zoning applications in?
That,
Some people do planning, some people do zoning.
this one's assigned to. Mike Warren. So
Yeah.
he's the one that wrote the CLD.
Oh, yeah, you would probably know the answer to this question.
He normally would be here, but
Yeah.
Yeah, his doggy.
Yeah.
so we could have asked him and he could have explained that, which. We didn't have.
No. Maybe it's like an over ask.
I'll ask them. I'll send out an email. And,
And then maybe,
that,
maybe we can all chime in on sort of full
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah.
We could be
But
stuck.
why they felt it was an increase in non-conformity.
okay,
Yeah,
I-
I mean, but first and foremost, it's not the pavers or anything, but our stances never increase in that area.
yeah,
However, the question arises, if it's already paved over, what are we really doing?
yeah.
So what you're saying, we would be okay with it if it's on existing pavement?
Oh, we'd like to see them reduce the impervious surface, obviously, if there's gonna be anything for approval.
Like
Um,
if it's on, yeah.
Yeah, practically though, like, it
Practically,
doesn't make
yeah.
sense to do anything.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll send them. The next two are next to each other and they're, active agriculture is happening on them right now.
We drove up in there, you could see the old corn stalks.
I'm just gonna bring this up instead of.
It is a steep slope, so I mean, it's not ideal agriculture.
So one house is here
Yeah.
and the other house is here.
Yeah.
I was happy to like defer comment to the ag committee.
Yeah, I was gonna say it because it's ag,
Yeah.
it is a little, you
I
know.
mean, they look straightforward for a
Yeah.
building stand, they look.
Yeah, it looks like it'd be a nice spot for office, actually, the one on the upper one, cause it has a pretty, I drove up to the highest point, and it's got a pretty panoramic view, you can't see the lake, but.
Are they on the state prime lands list and stuff?
Yeah.
That would be my concern, if they're identified as that, cause. Shouldn't be developing them, cause those are what we identify in our comprehensive plan. Comprehensive. And
Yeah,
goals and then-
People subdivide and land
Yeah.
is sold with the intention to folks wanna put a
Yep.
house.
Yep,
And how do you tell them it's good
No.
farmland, you know? It's kind of a,
I would.
And it is a
Rock in the
slope,
hard
because so
place
it's
kind of.
probably, it's not probably ideal for farming.
Oh, you can farm slopes. It depends on the soils and
That-
whether you're terraced and that sort of thing. I did not get a chance to look at what the soils were, but
Yeah, that.
people are not paying attention to covering up the best farmland, you know.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating to see things going in where it's soils of state importance and national importance and, oh, well, this is an easy spot to build, you know. Farmers cannot make a living on crap soils.
Yeah.
All of these things get rented, even if it's not owner farmed. And, you know, as I say, I didn't get a chance to look at the soil maps on these, but we can't keep covering up the best soils and leaving the worst ones for people to try to make a living farming. If we're really interested in preserving agriculture in the town, you can't have them farming rocks.
Has the ag committee chimed in on this?
So get the ag committee to talk about it.
yeah.
Yeah,
The ag committee look at soil, so.
they need to take a look at it and see.
It's kind of like what that Piercebrook coming over to Parish Street. I saw they excavated all that out there. I'm looking at that soil. I'm like, wow, that's some nice soil there. No rocks or.
Yes, I know. It is, as I say, you can't keep just covering up the best soils and leaving the terrible stuff for people to try to farm. It's not if you're really serious about preserving ag in the town. Just can't. So I would like the ag committee to take a look at it and weigh in on it.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of our guiding things too, so.
But
And we're proud
they
of that.
still, they still approve the subdivision.
Yeah.
So, and.
Well, that one was
and they're-
conservation area, right?
And they're subdivided for the sake of building upon. I get it, I know, it's this, it's this and it's that, you know, it's.
Although I would,
Who owned it before the Dobies? Who did they buy it from? I wonder like who was farming it,
Mhm.
what the story
Well-
could be.
Find that out.
I get where you're coming from, Edith, I understand.
Yeah. Well, you know, you have to have land base.
There was
If
actually,
you can't farm a 2-acre piece of land because equipment can't turn around in it for one thing. And you can't farm places that are 15 miles from each other either. You know, even if there's land to be rented or owned, if it's not contiguous with what you're already farming or at least convenient to it, that's prohibitive. You know, it needs blocks of farmland. I admit that I am used to square miles of wheat fields, but you know, but you have to have it convenient and not broken up. Everybody's farming in behind the houses anyway, and then listening to the complaints about the pesticide and herbicide drift and the animal smells and all of that, you know. It's becoming harder and harder for farmers to even survive here.
And that's before they have to go sell their crops.
Maybe that's why the land went up for sale, you know?
Well, it could be. I don't know. You know, it's often for farmers, the land is their retirement
Yes.
Right.
fund. That's where their capital is, and what they want is the most money they can get for it. They know they aren't going to be around to see when it's all paved or under houses,
Solar farms.
but it's nevertheless, you know, I guess I'm probably too interested in breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but that's, you know, it is, it's true. You can't farm rocks.
oh, there's soil, I can cook in soil. I think that always used to be buried in the detail. Where is it?
It's in the Encore information. I did not,
That would be
as I say, I ran out of time.
Thing right near.
Yes.
history,
Yeah,
It's Sunset.
yeah, Sunset,
Oh, no,
it's
it's
south of that.
like owner,
That's all
but
hay.
there's also, it should be.
Yeah. But they've stopped farming a lot of those like that land.
No, they don't. Yeah,
Because
the guy that he's getting out of farming, that used to rent the land from him.
What's his name? He's
So-
Peter, huh? He did all the,
Peter,
he did all,
yeah,
the,
nice guy.
he did all the land down by me. And now none of it's on Seneca Point, Dugway, he used to farm all that, now it's all gone.
He's paring back the seed.
Rich is over on Kramer, he's over on Kramer, right? Yeah.
Well,
We used to rent it.
Yeah.
We're trying to do the soil analysis report, Edith.
well, don't worry about it. You know, but if the Ag Committee can take a look at it and weigh in on it, they would be, you know, they would be a good place to
It's
refer
like-
this to, is all.
Yeah, it's not bad fields.
It's mostly lime alone, Edith.
Lime, okay, well, that's productive.
Anyways, good, so.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been,
That is.
yeah, it's always been in hay ground down there, or sometimes they're mixing crops there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah, I guess the ag people, they will chime in.
yeah. Yes, I think referring it to the Ag Committee would be a very good thing to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are looking at these two.
Good.
I know they'll talk a lot about it. I would really encourage them to maybe think about ways where maybe you can have some smaller building lot that preserve, like, you know,
Yeah,
more of the farmland that could still be used.
right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just.
I don't know.
I think that would be a good thing to do. I can't see much point in 5-acre lawns.
Correct.
Well, no, no.
Mm-hmm,
100%.
mm-hmm. They're a green desert, as a matter of fact.
I absolutely
Sunset.
agree, and I mean, this one,
Ryan's.
15 acres.
Ryan.
And they're putting a house, you know,
Not too far off the road.
not too far off the road, and it's,
Yeah, so,
like, you know, you
Yeah.
could still have some possibly
Which would might
farmable
last it.
land.
Yeah, but I think they,
Mhm.
Cooking out there or something.
Oh,
she did, she was.
I would
he was-
really, you know,
Anyway, I
Very-
don't have anything else to say, I just,
I guess he's a
you know,
yeah.
That's pretty wild.
I just watch it
He's a good guy.
turning into the very last crop. There's no way it ever goes back to production.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
farm.
That gets
I
stuff.
think they're the big
Oh,
neighbor
okay.
of that.
There was, quite a lot of people listed in their ag data statement.
Hmm.
He had. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Four
Pleasure Acres is Pete.
Yeah.
Pleasure Acres.
Cooking out is the one. Okay.
So
Pleasure Acres
across
is
the
named after
street,
Pete.
that lands
Yeah,
across
Pete.
the street,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Love,
There you go.
the Hook and Ladder Nacho Farm, yes, they own a lot of land now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do they have, is that their big one down on, is it on Mill Cheshire there?
Yeah, and then they
Or
came
they
along.
put the
Well,
fire
this
department
side
stuff
of
up?
this, the 21 is Nacho Farm either,
Yeah, it was, I always.
and the other
that
one's
sign,
Nacho
it's
Farm.
like- Sure.
Funny.
It's a great.
Yeah. But I
So,
think it's just for their, just to have private land. So we didn't have really too much to say about that, did we? Not really.
I mean, it's a loss to the town of farmland. There used to be less all the time.
It's a single house that's on any certain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
a single house in
And-
each lot.
So it would be more revenue for the town.
So it sounds like the opportunity is there to rent out the remainder of the land if they
Maybe,
choose.
maybe
that
the
would
person
be-
would consider keeping some farming going on the
Yeah.
property.
If you look at American Farmland Trust, they compare the cost of services for farmland, for open land, for development, for commercial land, and so on. And I think you would find that suburban housing returns there's more cost than there is in tax revenue. Even open land has a better cost per services ratio than developed land. You're not going to build yourself out of paying taxes ever. Because they need more services all the time, you know, everything. That's, yes, you can tax the houses, but they take more services, that's all.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Take a look at the American Farmland Trust website because they've done a very extensive study of that.
Or I guess they.
Cost of Community Services Survey,
Yeah.
it's called.
Mhm.
I think they would have a better, recommendation.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I really would encourage ag to start tracking how much farmland is being lost. Cause nobody's tracking that at any other place, so,
Yeah. Mhm.
We were all together at the,
yeah.
they were like,
Oh, the
wanted to
meeting.
extend the
Yeah.
boundaries for the ag areas, so
Mhm.
that. In order to incorporate more land, so it'd be less susceptible to development.
Mhm.
And yeah, anything that can be done
Yeah.
to slow that lead of development of that
It's
land.
just too opposed,
Mhm.
just that it's gonna have to be one or the other. Develop it or stick with the farmers.
But they can't. Bought and planned on it.
Yeah.
The
That
idea
wouldn't
is to
go
like
too well.
try and fix that upstream.
So we should talk about the steep slopes project, huh?
Steep slopes.
So I wonder if his stormwater guy looks at these,
I don't know.
because the steep slope code talks about measuring the flow of properties and it's great. I looked at it in the past, looked at it again, it makes no sense to me. Look at the steep slope code. and check that out.
100%. I think the steep slope code is,
It's crazy.
Well, at the time, I was just trying to get something on the books and then
They think that's.
they spent a ton of time on it.
when
There's a lot of revisions to it.
Yeah,
I talked to Mike about the presentation, cause he had sent out the note to the different chairs
Mhm.
and, I'm sure we can do that. And, I said, you know what, we have a lot of trouble with steep slope codes.
So are those notes from Mike? The really,
Those are notes from Mike
Mike does
because
those.
I
No.
did not find another, site
No,
plan.
I only saw one.
Oh, wait, I take that back. I don't know, I missed it earlier.
4-pager, it's 4-page.
It's a lot of notes.
Yeah.
I was reading some of the notes.
Yeah.
I was,
I saw your comment about the disturbance.
yeah, well, is it, did they quantify the disturbance?
He has it over to the side,
he
I
just,
didn't-
he just said the amount,
yeah,
but he didn't actually like,
you'd like to show it sketched around
I'd
there,
like to see
yeah,
it sketched.
helpful.
Where, uh-huh.
This is pretty heavily wooded.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
went through
He says
the,
around the whole plant, wooded.
Where's this near?
I'm on 16.
Yeah,
Right
No,
near, Menteith Point,
okay.
right across, what's actually on Menteith Point, or across, you know.
Gee, look it up at Encore.
Mhm. Mm.
There's Menteith Drive.
Mhm.
Is that the waterfall?
Yep.
That's a waterfall.
Close to whatever it is, so, yeah.
Yeah.
This was there, a couple, hiking that, but
Was it water?
oh, not much, yeah, but considering.
So when I went to Encore, that's like all red.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I saw
That's
that.
where the stone house and the waterfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's Shotlands,
Shotlands.
that's the, okay.
What was it?
Shot.
Shotland, that's their,
Peter shot.
the barn,
Crazy property.
I used to look.
That used to
I used
be
to
the
work for them when they
Nieces.
first bought it. and
right,
then-
Justin, Mr. Neese used to own the land that
Okay.
Shotlands bought and
I
built
just
it.
always loved it.
And there was a house that sat way back by the waterfall.
Yeah.
And it was the colonial home at the road. And that had
There's
apartments
no
in
sign
it.
there.
Is there for like a
So
story?
is it the
Oh,
north there?
that's right in there.
Or just a lot?
It would be north.
I'm sure there was a mill there or something.
Yeah,
back in the
right,
day.
yeah.
Wow.
Mill of some sort was probably back there.
Good.
It's very heavily wooded, it's very steep.
Yeah, very steep.
It's all shallow.
It's a little flat right at the beginning, then it goes right up, and then there is, where they're gonna build the house, there is a little bit of a flat area, and then it starts where you can see the contour line.
Yeah,
behind
it's a
it.
little bit, they're a little.
I look at that septic system,
It's gonna be a big disturbance.
yeah, I mean, they're gonna have, there's a lot of nice black walnuts in there.
According to the steep slope law, Mike was just talking about code. And
Mhm.
I'm like, I pulled it out. They have to identify all trees with 6-inch
Okay,
or more in that
I
area.
think they're all,
well,
pretty
that's,
and they're all quality trees, sugar maple,
Yeah,
black walnut.
so we should ask for that,
asking for a tree,
based on that,
tree inventory and yeah,
because we can
that's,
say that.
that's right in the
Because
code.
that's a valid request.
And one of the other things right in that code was they have to identify all their drainage. There's nothing on here for like roof drains and stuff that I,
Were there any dry wells in there? Well, what's that number 8B looks like it's something, B. That
it's a
was,
concrete washout.
What is that?
there's gotta
What
be
is the
something.
concrete washouts?
Like something. with-
That's where the concrete trucks put their
Oh.
wash it,
Okay.
yeah.
I was thinking it was something,
Work plan and legend, it's gotta be something.
Oh, this is
Sure.
well furnished, yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is where they say their disturbed area is like 37,000 square feet.
Okay,
what's that?
And
Surveys,
junkyard.
for all of the.
He put it in a table.
Oh,
Yeah, all of the
that's gotta be,
things.
that's Warner's,
Construction,
they have gravel pit, there's a
the
gravel pit.
steep
in that.
slope.
Gravel
it
pit.
said that
I've been on
it was a
it.
limit of 15,000 square feet. Plus driveway and plus
A septic,
septic, and I'm like, 37,000 square feet is an awful lot of space. And my guess is you're going to run over what's allowed by that steep slope law. If I
so,
read it correctly.
so then we need to chime in about the steep slope law. And,
Mike just said if we need.
and about,
So.
and about locating the 6 inch or greater.
Well, you know, trees with a DBH of 6 inches or greater within 20 feet of the mean high water mark.
Oh, but if you look down
We're
farther,
across the lake, so we're,
if
we're
you
up
look
there.
down farther in the
So-
general
Yeah.
section,
It brings
There-
it up again and it says.
yep,
Oh, okay.
all single family.
This is when you remove all those trees, you're also destabilizing that
Right.
whole area.
Yeah.
Stabilizing the slope, yeah.
And they're off to the side, there is like a little, like a small little gully that, well, I don't know. That might,
Then where's that water?
I'm guessing if it's like, say it's maples and black walnut, then you
yeah,
just
there's
gotta
some
get
pretty
rid of
nice,
the
there's
source.
some pretty good sized black walnut that I'm sure they'll get some good money for them if they take it.
So when you go down to the bottom of the steep slope, there's general regulations. And then that's where, there was that 15,000 square feet. Per parcel plus land necessary for driveway access, on-site wastewater.
Greater than.
And so it's at 15,000 plus those things, and I'm like, wow, 37,000 is a big.
So they're
difference.
saying
Wow.
15,000 for the house,
Correct.
and
So they can't
then,
do it based on the law.
and then what goes beyond that?
I'm thinking they need to identify all of that stuff, so you know whether you're. Cause that's an awful lot of space.
No,
It says down here, let me see, there's the tree one. Fine.
trees are
Here we
driving
go.
over there, well, it's not the mean high water, cause it's across the road.
what was one that- See. Can't read this one because it's on.
Microwave. Is it still warm?
Remember those lots that we were talking about that are below Notre Dame and kinda over? They were kinda steep and you were, and the Hollander was the engineer and who
So,
was building up there
Yeah,
and we were commenting on it.
yeah, this
Stuff
is,
being done.
How's this still there?
this is out of the code, it says. Location of all trees within the proposed project limits that are located in a steep slope protection area.
That's-
What?
Not this kind of.
Yeah.
You wanna put a
Greater
little cabin or something,
if
that's.
any.
No, yeah,
These
that's.
trees will be cut as part of this project.
So we don't know what's there and what's gonna be cut, cause that's not mentioned yet,
Correct.
Right.
so, but we would like it
And
mentioned.
even if they leave
Well,
some.
Talking about
trees-
half a
have
lot,
to.
half a lot is gonna be.
They have to
The
buy
size of the
this.
trees that
so,
by
yeah.
that code, so we can mention that.
And any of the
Plus-
trees they do leave are gonna be damaged probably, you know, boom zones and
Yeah.
excavating.
It said, location and description of all existing and proposed open closed drainage features to include roof drains, blah, 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 blah. That they have to put all of that on the plans.
And then there's like, there, when you get down to the, towards the road, there was a drainage where. But it goes down in, directly into the creek, so any runoff's gonna be carried right.
And
To the creek, to the lake, yeah,
Yeah, that's the trout stream.
that's a chart stream, yeah.
yeah. It is trout stream.
Next to the waterfall.
Mhm.
Fish can't go up the waterfall.
They didn't, a lot of plans have like silt fences and
Oh, we did.
stuff.
When we
This
were
didn't
hiking,
give
Does
any-
it have
there
the-
was a lot
this didn't
smaller
give any of
fish.
that either.
Did he mention it in his notes about silt fence?
They gotta come.
Or does he have details, and
Stream.
maybe he's got detail, and his details about,
It's several
Yeah.
bars.
Silt.
that feed into that area.
If we go to the
Erosion?
detail sheet,
You know, you get storms
got
and they
it.
overflow.
Yeah, go
Bert,
wash-
I
maybe
think
wash
Bert
them.
maybe too could be moved.
I'm trying to search on text.
oh, text.
There was a lot of fish out there too,
Oh.
I'm surprised.
I don't believe he's included any.
He's
of
got
that.
shallow trench drop box system.
Oh,
Lot of
that's,
gas,
That's
lot
for
of
the
gas
septic,
down
that's
there.
for the leach.
They were lighting them.
50% reservation area, whatever.
That's a pretty strong gas pump.
so
Okay.
there's
Awesome.
nothing in here about silt
Try to
fence
bite.
or silt sock or any of that stuff either.
Okay.
Is
That's
it
more.
detail sheet? We'll go with the detail sheet, see what's that.
This,
Alright,
this,
what's
this
the matter?
computer's,
So,
Alright, so there's,
more silt fence.
that's the silt fencing diagram, reinforced silt fence.
that's probably why I didn't pick it up, it's probably like a picture that he included. So it was picking up the text, but it's not showing where it is on
On the plan,
the plans.
I didn't notice that either.
A lot of,
It's handy if it's right on the plan.
it makes it clear for when his code guys are out there,
That's
they can say that it's right or wrong.
So concrete washout area, let's just.
Their driveway.
That's kind of a section expensive, right?
So
Dropbox,
a lot of stuff about the septic.
I don't know why Shotlands didn't buy the property.
So.
Hmm.
Anyways,
so we're concerned for the trees and the steep slope, absolutely.
one of the,
Tree, soil
One of the
disturbance,
concerns.
water flow.
Run off into the stream.
Yeah, what comes down the road with all the additional water flow that's gonna be coming through there. I guess what is it designed for now?
still,
Okay, so,
that's the part
okay,
I would-
there you go,
yeah,
okay.
doesn't it?
Oh, there it is, you can see the silt, there it is, it goes up there. But it's just a line, so
That's your silt fence.
that's silt, there you go.
But don't they have to go around the whole
Well,
site?
you have to go, if it's coming down, it's to prevent what's
Okay,
being washed up
alright.
against it, right?
Okay,
But the
They should have
disturbance
some-
could be around the whole thing,
what's that?
They should have silt fencing around. the
Okay.
south end.
yeah.
Even, I mean, it's cross gradient, but still, some of those cutouts they're gonna have there, it's gonna.
Yeah. And
Well, maybe we could mention we'd like to see the line of disturbance.
Yep.
Graphically,
on the.
shown graphically on that
Add-
plan,
Silt fencing to the south.
and then talk
Um,
about trees being
trees.
taken that are 6 inches.
Putting the drainage features on the site plan.
How far is it from the gully, the corner of the disturbance? Is it,
Well, that
That's that's the thing, we don't know how far the disturbance is,
yeah,
cause they didn't draw it up. there.
Oh, the
The
gully's
gully
right
that
there.
they're showing there is more, not really a gully per se, it's just kind of an area that's cut out. It's not the main, that's not the
More like
main
a
gully.
Ditch,
Yeah,
Okay,
not-
that's a good, yeah. It's not the main,
it's not where the waterfall is.
No,
I'm sure
And,
it still has water flowing through it periodically.
cause there's like another lot in between there and Shotlands.
Mhm.
so. If I read this, this is 60 or 84, isn't it like a 65-foot setback from the road?
I brought that picture in.
Hmm.
That's the two lots on the house
Yeah.
there, those are
Closer
the
to
two
the
lots together, and then
Suppose, yeah,
there's the house by the
Okay, yeah.
waterfall.
and what percentage of the slope on this one?
It's really the house.
No, it's here, looking at.
Or less?
Yeah, you got your.
Yeah. It was all red.
Oh, it was, okay.
Yeah.
So 25?
I think it's the 25 to
40.
40.
Here, no.
You have 25 to 40.
That's what I was.
First
yeah.
you-
I thought that had the hard cutoff of like. When you got to that level. I remember there's so many revisions to that.
I have to run.
No, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
been so long,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. Do,
That's right, you gotta get up early, it's almost bedtime.
yep, you do what you need to.
Anyway, and I don't think I'll be at the next.
Okay.
Okay.
We will have Jared at the next one. Let me see,
For another.
Okay,
pre-
oh,
is that gonna be another
you're-
presentation?
You have location law trees. so-
Cameron's not gonna be in the presentation.
Yeah.
What?
Jeff.
He's gonna be talking to us about like the climate smart community. I think Mike was talking about something else. Cause there's a climate resilience. Yeah, he's, we were talking about two different things.
Can you record that on Zoom?
These are always recorded.
Oh, okay.
So. So that's what we have. These are the two lots that they're joining.
You've got a lot of good notes here.
Okay.
Yeah.
They developed them, the other one.
They're joining them
They're
together.
joining
They're
the-
crossing the boundary, you know how.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Make
build,
it one big.
so one big lot's gonna be.
So it's.
They didn't want the other one there too, or it has a driveway on right to an
It's
open area?
pretty red.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's tough, I mean,
I really,
it sucks, but I shouldn't build a house there.
No.
Yeah,
that's really my opinion.
that's why, yeah, definitely mine.
I don't
Like,
think,
it's a great spot. But it's not the right use, I mean. They
does
they don't have a-
this
it's
lot
not-
up there
it's not
have
property.
something on it, does 4678 have a house on it?
I think it is.
It's got a, it's just a house number on it,
This one?
yeah,
There's a driveway that
What's
goes
on
up
it?
there.
nothing.
I feel like we reviewed.
Well, that's
this.
why
See some little
That's
dents.
Wells
in there.
Curtis Road.
Yeah,
right around-
Yeah, it's well sure.
Yeah,
If you go up to
Yeah.
2024, but I think some get definitely there.
Oh, yeah, I'm still behind the times.
You know where the barn was right there?
Yeah, there's a driveway.
oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah, there's something wrong.
there was a barn, Justin?
I think there was.
Yeah, I think they put a driveway in there and I saw somebody working there today when I came down Westlake Road. Were they ever gonna put a house there? They cut a quite a steep driveway, that went up into the,
Let me see, what place is this? What was that?
Kingsbury,
I don't know the name.
don't know.
I recognize a lot of names now, but
Yeah,
they
yes.
put that driveway in there few years ago and I kept thinking, oh, they must be gonna put a house up there and then it just didn't. Just that's it.
So what does that have to do with the, what were we looking at?
Nothing.
Just
Okay.
curious.
no, I was just wondering,
No, if they're gonna be combined or
Okay.
because they all be
Because
the
those
same
two are
boat,
combined now.
right?
Oh, right, maybe.
I said that was something the town could.
All right, thanks,
Well,
Mike.
yeah, black.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
I thought
Yeah,
we
we
were
did meet in
a
person.
long time ago.
We'll probably meet in person in November, cause Jared's gonna come in and talk with us, but. Hopefully we'll get a conference room at some point.
All right, thank you.
It all depends upon their construction.
Don't set off any alarms going on.
Uh-oh.
No, you're fine.
With a shovel in there.
If you need me to like get the gate or anything, just let me know.
Oh my
try it out.
goodness.
Yeah, I got the clicker.
Okay.
Oh.
Is there a pressure sensor there? Or no, that's actually locked, isn't it? To get out.
I think so. But, I'll just, we'll find. Anyways. What's it?
It's still.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So yes, all
So
red.
those comments,
Yeah, I mean, just, I think what you have there for comments is.
yeah, you've got a good amount, you've got some
Okay.
good comments there.
And then they can come back and see what they
Yeah,
thinking.
I would say if this gets approved, we got some serious issues with the structure and review.
of the steep slopes.
Yeah,
Especially-
and the different boards.
I was bothered by. our
Steep slopes, stormwater, yeah.
Yeah.
So discussion, which was one of the prior supervisors, family members building on the steep
Yeah.
slopes. And I still don't understand why that never raised an issue, there was no question of a variance with that. What were their names? We're talking about
Westbrook.
Westwood.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You have a lot of-
A lot of things going on up there.
It's always entertaining.
Oh,
Yes.
that's right. He was.
Yeah, I mean, there was water issues with overflow. We reviewed those, that
The
area a
most
lot.
recent project that we've reviewed has been withdrawn. So.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Where?
Wasn't that something with his son,
Oh, really?
with his son?
Like the one that just came in?
We've reviewed that a bunch of
The-
times,
Yeah,
the whole area.
there was the one that got approved and then they wanted to move the house 50 feet. And then they went back for an amended site plan and.
Yeah, we drove.
No, oh, that one, but there's another one on.
There's another one, okay, no,
Bill Grove is submitting that one,
that one's
And then
been
it butts up
withdrawn.
the
but
development.
not that one.
I don't know which.
Oh, no, I know the one you mean.
Yeah.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah, so,
No, but there's a new one, but that's also.
well, I was just,
At the end of Anna Melinda is a new one.
I was just sharing that that wasn't. from-
No, but that's right, that was withdrawn.
It's where the kids go when we get these 500-year flood things and they take the tube down on the Linda Drive because of the water that comes down.
Yeah. Whee!
So, and we did not see any sort of landscaping plan, and this is in the scenic fusion.
Hmm,
In the strategic forest area,
on top of everything.
so.
Gonna be pretty shady, even
A
with
lot
the.
lot going on.
A lot going on there, yeah, you're absolutely correct, I suggested minimal to no lawn, it's like,
Yeah.
it's not gonna grow well.
And if you don't have a lawn, then
What's
you've
gonna
got
hold the
erosion,
slope
ro-
back?
yeah, erosion issue.
Yeah,
You know,
You'll need a lot of plantings and stuff in there.
Yeah.
To offset what you're
Yeah.
gonna cause a disturbance, basically.
Yeah. So there was nothing for us to look at in that regard, so. But it's really late.
It's
The
really late.
last one, so we can just call it quits. If you've got ideas for the budget, bring them in November. I think they have one. I did talk to Greg Reynolds a little bit about that. He's the mini parks director. And so he mentioned that they're looking for maybe some replacement trees because they've had some die.
Mhm.
So maybe we can work with them on that. And they're talking about having a parks ranger program next year.
What does that mean?
So basically it would be there would be a young person program and there would be an adult program. And you go to like the different parks and you do different things.
Like learn how to mow the lawn around the garden signs, right, Edith? She probably disappeared.
Just like-
Oh, she's still here. I said I was gonna bring that up, but it's too late to talk about it now.
Yes, it is. I know. I was going to ask whether it's actually true that one can cut branches of a tree that is overlapping your fence and your
Oh,
property
onto your
because,
neighbor, I can.
yes,
You can,
yeah.
you can.
yes. Okay, well, I'm going to go, I'm thinking of the buckthorn that is
Oh,
growing
yeah,
into the
right.
fence at Schoolhouse Park.
Yes.
I cut some of the lower branches that were intruding into the park, and there are two large ones. It is an invasive species. It is a multi-trunk, horrible little buckthorn. And I
Yes.
thought I might possibly go next door and talk to the property owners there and
Tell them
point
what it
out that it is, tell them what it is that is growing there.
Come get your badge, so.
And yes, I will, and I will offer to cut it down for them. But, you know, we do have buckthorn branches coming through the fence and over the park property, and buckthorn seeds falling into the town property.
Just need more.
So me and my little chainsaw could take care of that right away.
You don't wanna get in
But
trouble.
electric chainsaw is quiet. You know,
Yes, I have one.
Take Jim with ya.
And I would have to
Yeah.
poison the part that I cut, of course, or else it will just sprout right back. So, you know, thinking about reaching through and scoring the bottom of the tree and spraying the herbicide on it. But I think I will take care of the branches that are coming through the fence there. Yeah.
So, yeah, Greg is a good resource to reach out to.
Mhm.
When, with the mowing, I had reached out to him, and I know
Mhm.
he did touch base with, people doing the mowing.
Okay, good.
Who happens to sleep at my house.
I have a new idea, but I'll bring it up next time. 'Cause it's the end of
Next time,
the year,
yes,
Right,
very good, yes.
to be, that'll give us something to look forward to at the next meeting.
Mhm, yes. I will try to send you a newsletter article about invasive species, because we did find not only the buckthorn, but an ailanthus tree in the lakeside area of Ononda.
Yes, that's right, we
Okay.
did, yeah.
Yeah, so,
That post for the lantern fly.
Yeah,
Pretty.
mhm, all right.
wonderful, huh?
I remember reviewing a project, the Shotlands, on Menteith Creek there, and there was Jack knotweed, and there was all sorts of stuff growing all in the Menteith Creek area.
Yep.
And, yeah, it would be nice if more people understood.
Yes, well, this is prime time for killing it because the sap is going down to the roots. So herbicide is very effective this time of year.
Mhm.
So, well, I would say if people want, really the information Mike shared is a lot of, training really about the town stuff. So if you want to include any of those training hours, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, that was good. It was great.
Yeah,
How many credits do I need?
is this your first year or second?
First.
I'm 12.
Oh, I told you 6.
Well, no, I knew you were wrong.
You can take any, I mean, you can.
Well, I don't know, I might have. What did you get for doing that, the college, when we were at Finger Lakes Community College, that was.
That was.
That was 4, wasn't it?
And then we had the joint meeting of the,
Right,
that
how
counts.
much was that, too?
Boards
I
got
think the
together,
Boards was
that counts.
And I did an online thing, and then I'm gonna do the thing with.
Yeah, you'd probably be fine.
Mhm.
So, yeah, just send me whatever you've got.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it, with paper. Okay.
Yeah, it's all good. So, I'm just,
Okay.
see a motion to adjourn.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Everybody.
Bye. Mhm.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Yeah, bye. Good night.
Bye.
Monday? Okay.